Hello?
Huh?
Hello?
Hello?
Can y'all hear us? Let's give it a second to not lag.
Hello, hello?
Yeah, also, I have a surprise. Scrittus shouldn't sound
The
like...
animatronics like to get a little quirky around here.
Hi. Scrittus shouldn't sound like the FNAF phone man anymore. He should sound like normal. We think we got
Yeah, I
that.
don't
Yeah,
sound like a phone guy
he's
anymore.
out of the cage,
Great.
everybody. He's officially... Everyone give him a round of applause. He's officially been
Double check
released
that.
from the cage. They're saying Ayo phone guy's mic works, so...
Okay, yeah, it works. I double checked it. We're good.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
very
go.
sorry if you were in my Discord server and you got the alert that I was live. I just had it set as an unlisted stream and I thought that only Scrittus would be able to see it so that we could test the audio, and then my bot in my server was like, "Oh, you're streaming? Everybody needs to know about this." And then
I feel like the
sent out an
majority of the
alert.
people are like, you have a Discord server?
Probably. It's kind of dead, but that's okay. We can
You should put it in the description of your streams so that people
Yeah,
can
you know
join your
what?
Discord.
You know
So that they
what?
will always be notified
Sure.
when you go live.
You know what? Sure, let me fucking find it.
The second way that they will know that you go live is by hitting the subscribe button and then
With
turning on bell
notifications,
notifications.
yes. Um, invite people.
It's the Scrittus is the Italian man and the phone guy from FNAF. My tinfoil hat levels are going off the charts. Well, prepare for them to go to the moon because we're about to go into part 7 of Shannon's fucking argument.
Alrighty, guys. In the description, I just put the Discord server.
Discord.
So I
Yeah,
guess I didn't
Discord
tell
is
him to be, but I guess Scrittus has decided that he's gonna be like my hype man while he's here.
Yep, I'm always everybody else's hype man. It's always a thing I like to do.
Oh yeah, Lisa Allen. Yep, that's something we'll talk about because we're not quite there yet in this 20 whatever part document, but we'll get there. We'll
We
get
spent
there.
what, like 2.5, 3 hours
Yesterday, just on
going
the
through
first 6
that.
parts, yes. We'll
Bro,
give people a few minutes to
bro,
just get in here and then we'll...
movie is fucking 2.5 hours, man.
How many pages are in the document? I think,
Like,
like in the original there were like 91, but what I did is I made a copy of it so that I technically like own the copy, and that way I can make the images bigger. So it's like over, yeah, it's like 104 now. It was like 90 something before, and I've just made some of the images bigger, which has shifted stuff down.
I just want to reiterate this. One of the better Spider-Man movies to have come out recently is 2 hours and 28 minutes long, and we, last time we did this, spent about that, if not more time,
Longer.
dissecting Creepshows, and we're not even done. We're only up to part 6.
Yeah.
Or we only finished up to part 6, I think.
Yeah, I know. It's like...
I was like, and
yeah,
it
and
felt
she
like
complained
10
about,
hours.
yeah, and then Trigger Happy Gamer
Like,
said, and she complained about the length of our document when...
that's so true.
Oh my god. Oh,
Like,
it's Cecil. Cecil's here.
when
Hello.
most of it wasn't even about her.
Yeah, and it was responding
so
to like
fucking
multiple
funny.
videos and had a shit ton of screenshots that were actually appropriately sized so that the viewer could read them.
Yeah, her ass literally complained about ours, which went into detail of like untangling the mess that was the Hopeless Peaches drama and every player in it. And her ass just goes and fucking makes a 90-page fucking document
Yeah.
about this shit. About one person.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so
Like, holy fucking shit.
just a couple of things that were in the previous parts that I wanted to like clarify really quickly. For one, I don't know why, but I had it in my head that the assault by Anthony occurred in 2015, and I went back and watched, and that like she never actually said when it happened. She just said that it happened. So that was my bad. I got some wires crossed there. I do not know why I had that date in my head. Okay, and then when I, one thing that we pointed out was that Emily in a song said that it was going to be 3 years in November that she was sober, and that was in 2016. And this is purely from Shannon's point of view. It's possible that she thought that Emily's 3 years in November quote was referring to the previous November. But most of the time when people say, like, oh yeah, it'll be like 3 years in whatever date, they're referring to, like, the upcoming month, essentially. Like, I've never... That would be a weird wording on her part, but I at least can understand Shannon's, like, thinking that it might have, even though I think she interpreted it incorrectly.
And again, the whole point of disproving when Emily went sober and when she wasn't sober is to disprove that her ex-boyfriend, sexually assaulted Emily while she was high on heroin.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the point.
That is the whole point of trying to deconstruct and say that Emily did not, or was not, or was sober, or supposed to be sober.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is very, very weak, because you could literally just have relapsed in the time that when you said you started going sober and when you didn't. Or you could have literally lied in the song. There are like a million different reasons that can withhold Emily's side of the story more than Creepshow's in this case.
Exactly. And this isn't so much a clarification so much as more I just did a little bit more digging. She said, let me find it. Okay. So she was saying that the Emily the email stated was used to hack her Facebook was Why Do I Have to Do This 22, which is attached to a YouTube channel called Reno2200. And this account was active up until a year ago. So I went to try and figure out, and I Googled it, and you actually see Reno2200 pop up on YouTube, but it's because they're, like, the actual channel name is Why Do I Have to Do This 222. I can't find any evidence that there's actually a Facebook account called Why Do I Have to Do This 22 linked to this YouTube. That's just what the name of this URL is. I don't know how she proved that it was linked to the Facebook account with the same name. So that was something else I found.
I will say, I also see, like, a lot of people in the chat saying, like, I feel bad for Emily and, you know, how, like, Creepshow Art stands are going after her and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, from my perspective, I'm like, where? Who?
Yeah, I don't...
Literally everybody is shitting on Creepshow in my... I haven't seen one person other than, like, maybe a troll who probably doesn't give a shit about either. Like, I literally only saw one person with, like, a dream avatar shitting on Emily. That was the only... It wasn't even that bad of, like, getting shit on. It was literally just like, no, you're wrong and Creepshow's right. And then that's it. That's the only thing I saw.
Schlatt like, had the right idea with the dream stands.
Yeah, ban all the dream stands.
Yeah, and then, it's actually funny because, obviously, the great Betty White died on New Year's Eve, and I literally told my mother, I think my exact quote was something like, Betty White was like the seventh seal and the last thing protecting us from demons crawling the earth. And then a few hours later, Creepshow Art uploaded her video, and I was like, ah, damn, I was fucking right.
Yeah, I will say this, like, I would feel more bad, well, I don't, but I would feel more bad for Creepshow in this scenario because literally nobody's on their side. Like, I've seen more people say, I'm so sorry Emily has to deal with this right now, than people say fuck Creepshow, to be honest.
Here's
honestly,
something interesting. Interesting. Hang on, I just looked on Twitter. Emily just posted this on Twitter. So it says, here's a snippet from the letter Let me get back to
Maybe
my
show
live
it to
stream.
the
Yeah,
screen.
that's what I'm doing.
So
I'm sorry. There's a delay.
Yeah, there you go.
On the stream.
Oh yeah, the delay. I'm like watching it and talking in the
It
Discord
says,
call, so
here
it's
is a
kind of weird.
snippet from the letter that Shannon's lawyer sent me. The delete everything without a word or else letter. They only dedicated this tiny paragraph to the assault allegation, and Anthony admits to having one sexual encounter with me. And you can see here where it says, finally we must address your allegation that Anthony sexually assaulted you. Anthony unequivocally denies that the interaction at your father's home ever occurred. He further denies that at any time he took advantage of you while you were under the influence of heroin and unable to consent to any sexual activity. Anthony acknowledges that you had a single sexual encounter after you broke up, but it did not occur at a time when you were using. It never would have. As you know, Anthony has been sober for several years before you dated in 2011. Since entering recovery, Anthony has maintained a zero-tolerance policy for associating with individuals whom he knew to be actively using. Numerous witnesses can attest to this fact. He would not have interacted with you, much less took advantage of you, while you were visibly, and I assume that continues to say. And yeah, I'm like...
What?
Yeah.
What is this? So weird.
Yeah, but it looks like just somehow Shannon, even if, assuming this is from a real lawyer, and we'll just assume it for the sake of argument, I guess Shannon has, like, convinced her lawyer of the same fucking thing, of, like, oh yeah, she couldn't have possibly have been using. Like, she couldn't have possibly been using, because she said she quit in 2012, even though we've already shown that that's not even, like, totally true. And...
able to consent to. Okay, so this is, I don't, like, I wouldn't even know about any of this sort of stuff because I've never been to court. I've never had to deal with anything, like, law-wise, and, like, whenever the law classes came on in college, I was always, like, fucking, on them.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not gonna be an armchair lawyer and say that this is fake, but, like, this feels like something kind of unbelievable to me.
Yeah,
like,
this isn't written like, because I have 2 family members that are lawyers. This doesn't seem like something a lawyer would write, but maybe that's also me just being like, what you call it, like overly skeptical. But and Emily says it here too. She's Shannon later in the document will try to say that Emily changed her story. Emily never changed her story. I went back and watched it. She said that she initially invited Anthony over, but then after he arrived and she was clearly, like, out of it, that's when the assault took place. So now Anthony is actually kind of admitting that part of her story, that she invited him over and that a sexual encounter occurred, right? So then suddenly I guess it's just the matter of was she actually under the influence or not?
Here's what's weird if we're assuming this is the lawyer. Is, like, to me it sounds like this reads like Shannon, but Shannon putting on a fucking monocle, you know?
Yeah.
Like a mustache and a monocle. That's what this reads like to me.
Shannon just has, like, says, she just put it in Times New Roman instead of Arial.
After you broke up, but it did not occur at the time you were using it. Never would have. Like, that's how it reads to me, where it, like, immediately goes into, like, Shannonese.
Yeah.
After like it breaks character for a second.
Shannon just has, like, a wig closet, and every person that Shannon has ever interacted with is actually just Shannon in a different wig. She's, like, role play. She has her lawyer wig. She has her
different hat.
Yeah, she has a different hat.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so this is basically just admitting that a sexual encounter occurred, and then they're using the same argument of, oh, but Emily said that she was sober in 2012, so she couldn't possibly have been under the influence of drugs, and the whole argument that Anthony has a zero-tolerance policy for drugs, which is also, like, if you had additional evidence to prove that outside of just saying that he does, that would be useful. But yeah, it's not lawyer language. That's what people are saying. This really isn't lawyer language.
It's also, like, I don't know, it's like Anthony has maintained a zero-tolerance policy for associating with individuals, like, who says that? What kind of lawyer says that and use that as like proof or something? It's like, did Anthony tell the lawyer to put that there?
Yeah, when
Like,
Shannon's
was
wearing her
Anthony like, yes, I've had a zero tolerance policy for the past 10 years. I don't even associate with people I would otherwise know are currently using drugs because I am now above it. I am now
yeah, when
above drugs. I have zero tolerance.
Shannon puts on her lawyer wig and she uses words like whom, and she switches the font to Times New Roman instead of Arial. And that's the lawyer personality.
I just, yeah, I don't know. Again, like, this just reads like Shannon in a lawyer costume.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's what someone was saying. Typically, when lawyers like when lawyers like refer to a person, they'll use like the last name. They'll say like Mr. Whoever
yeah,
or
Mister,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, or my client, my
Yeah, because
you know,
Anthony is
that
too
sort of
in
thing.
lawyer terms, like just saying a first name is too vague because like multiple people,
It really is.
yeah, can have that name.
Or they will say my client, Mister
Yeah,
this,
exactly. That's
or
lawyer
you
language.
know, yeah.
This isn't
They
lawyer
they will they
language.
have a different they have a completely different language. Lawyers have a completely different language, and that's why whenever I was like in those lectures and shit, I would always get fucking like brain fried because of it's literally like if you are becoming a lawyer, you are learning a new language. It's insane, but yeah,
Oh,
that
Emily's
was
here. Hi,
definitely
Emily. This was
yeah.
definitely
Hey
from a
Emily,
real
back
lawyer.
again.
She looked him up and emailed him through his contact on his site. This man needs to get his
Okay.
license
So it was a
revoked.
real lawyer. Just okay. Fair enough.
That's so weird. I have never seen a lawyer write like this in like any legal document or anything that I know about law.
Maybe it's just that it's like out of context. That it's like
I
it
guess
looks
it's just
weird to
funny
me.
because it just this just screams to me. I see this and I'm like, oh, so Shannon's acting like a lawyer now. Got it. But if it's a real lawyer, that's interesting. A lawyer who doesn't really know what they're doing. Also, Peaches is here.
Uh,
Hi,
like I
Peaches.
said, I don't know really anything about lawyering, and I've never had somebody to send something like this to me to know whether or not it's like a real thing that lawyers do to people they're about to sue. Uh, I guess not everybody can be from Harvard or
Yeah, I
whatever.
guess so.
Um,
And the fact that this video got
but
like released without the whole defamation lawsuit that she said was gonna happening kind of makes me think that her lawyer might have told her that like you don't have a case to pursue here, or someone told her, so she just released it anyways. Okay,
yeah,
but
it just
so that's interesting. Mr. Lawyer Man, who is apparently a real lawyer and isn't just Shannon in a wig, unfortunately. I like that theory personally.
yeah. My head canon is that it was Shannon with a wig.
She made a whole website pretending to be this lawyer.
Yeah. Good. I
Okay.
don't know. Making like silly head canons is my favorite thing to do.
Oh my goodness, my mother's calling me. One second. I gotta. Scrittus entertain the stream
It's
for me.
time for me to entertain the stream. So like, have you guys ever seen gibbons before? Like, they're these monkeys. They got these like, well, they're not monkeys. They're like apes, right? But they're small apes. So they're very often like confused with monkeys. Now, if you don't know, like the difference between a monkey and an ape is that a monkey will have a tail and an ape won't. But there's like these gibbons, right? There's these gibbons, and they've got these like throat sacs, and they'll go like brr, like and then they'll like start like whooping and everything. It's super like it's like monkeys are like the most ugly adorable things in the world. I mean apes. Like I don't know. They just I've been watching like videos about gibbons and everything, and it's like they'll start like winding up and just like whooping at Yes, Emily. They are super loud. They are very loud, incredibly loud. Now we're gonna get back into the deconstruction of
Hi.
this, but that's only when Spy's here.
Hi.
That's only when Spy's here, and I think she's back.
I am.
But when it's just me, talk about apes and monkeys. Okay. We talk about gibbons in this. We stand gibbons in this household.
I leave you with chat for 1 minute, and you completely derail the conversation to be talking about apes.
What do you think of orcas? I mean, they're murder whales. What more is there to say?
Lord have mercy. All right.
Free Willy was freeing those souls from seals' bodies ever since they were born.
Yeah, my mom was calling me because I ordered food, and she doesn't like it when I order food, but the food arrived, so I have my food now.
Sustenance acquired.
I haven't eaten today, so I
consume product.
Okay, so finally, part 7. Give it up for part 7.
Yeah, what's that like SpongeBob meme where it's like day 23? Give it up for day 23.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
Part number 7. We stand Scrittus and Spy in this household. Yes, you do. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Part 7.
Day 23. Give it up for day 23.
Emily doesn't state when she got the messages from Snapchat directly, but implies that it happened before she spoke to Anthony via Twitter. Not sure. Okay. But we can prove it could have only happened in 2016 because they make a reference to her YouTube channel, which she didn't start according to her video 2016 in review. I don't care. It would have had to have happened before she moved in with her now husband, given that in her boyfriend tag video, she talks about how she was moving from a small apartment into a large home. This is important because she states she was in an apartment when she pulled a gun because of the messages. Okay. That sentence didn't make any sense, but I think I kind of got it.
Wait. Well, she didn't start. I'm having trouble finding out what the hell Shannon is talking about here.
She's just trying to get background info right now. It would have had
to have happened before she moved in with her now husband, given that in her boyfriend tag video, which is I think how it was meant to be read, she talks about how she was moving from a small apartment into a large home. So there's a boyfriend tag video, and she's talking about moving from a small apartment into a large home. Emily is talking about moving from a small apartment to a large home. This is important because she states that she was in an apartment when she pulled a gun because of these messages. So,
sorry, I'm getting food set
just because you're announcing when you're moving doesn't mean that's the day you move either.
Yeah, like
and I'm not sure what they're saying. Like, I don't know about this whole thing. Maybe Emily can enlighten us here about this whole gun pulling thing since she's in the chat, but I'm not sure
Emily said that she was absolutely
what Shannon is talking
in
about
Nebraska. Here. Okay, Shannon's just doing the same shit where she's just trying to prove that, like, the timeline doesn't line up when it still could. Okay.
Yeah.
But outside of this absolute train wreck of a paragraph, based on the
also,
fact...
yes, Peaches, this is the same as the video. This is just written form.
Yeah,
so
thankfully.
That it's easier to understand because, like, Shannon...
Also, something I wanted to mention is that people were saying that the link to this document was broken. It is broken in the description, but if you go to her pinned comment, it's not broken in her pinned comment. So if you still want to get this, if you still want to get the document yourself, you can get it from her pinned comment on her video.
So Emily is saying that they stated they were in an apartment because they wanted to throw the people, like her stalkers, off. Because they said that they were literally in her city. They assumed that they had the address and wanted to confuse them.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But this says, based on the fact that the messages mentioned Mother's Day, and the fact that this would have had to have happened before she moved, which she posted occurred on November 18th, 2016, it could have only happened between May and November 18th, which Emily kind of just said isn't even true because, like...
Yeah, see, that, again, this is how Creepshow presents their arguments. It's like, this is the only way it could have happened, and then there's like 5 different reasonable other scenarios where this could have happened. But she'll always say, like, this is the only way because it's the way I thought of, the way that I need it to go. It's like, well, like, what about this scenario that is just as much, if not more reasonable than your scenario, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm chewing. This part was actually kind of interesting. It's just thanks to some people over on Reddit. Apparently, some people were saying that the mind-bending thumb video, like Snapchats, was part of like a viral marketing thing, where they would just randomly, let me see what this is. Where people were getting messages and Snapchats and stuff about, the mind-bending thumb video, essentially, to, like, confuse people and try to make it go viral.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Apparently, these people on Reddit were saying that, interesting, you and Emily seemingly aren't the only ones who received this kind of DM in 2017. Illustrator Sid Wheeler tweeted about getting one back then and also shared a screenshot, which is this, no, I had it open, I closed it. In the retweet, someone is wondering if the person sending the DM is the one who made the mind-bending thumb video, click to view on the Wayback Machine. And they used these weird DMs to advertise it and to make people look it up in order to go viral. You can see that this was the goal from the original video description, a soon-to-be viral epic trick. Which in turn makes me wonder if this particular DM Emily received wasn't from the person or persons stalking her, allegedly Shannon and Anthony, and she just assumed it was from the same person because she'd gotten so much fucked up shit from them anyways. And according to the wiki, the mind-bending thumb video is a video that an alien race in Kurt Vonnegut's books enjoys watching. So that might be where the term originated.
Yeah. The other thing too is Emily is admitting in the chat as well is that they're saying like their timeline might be off, which like
yeah, that's
I guess like to anybody, you know, try to put together a decent timeline of things that happened years ago. It's like, yeah, of course timelines are going to be foggy because you're not always conscious of what the date is when you do something.
So I mean,
you know?
I guess it is possible that Emily was just part of the viral marketing thing, and then because of all the other shit that had been happening, like, she assumed or she thought that it was still from Shannon or Anthony, or it even could have been Shannon or Anthony still taking advantage, like, maybe they knew about the marketing trick and used it to fuck with her further. But, and then, I don't know. This whole part is just, like, she's trying to disprove she's trying to make, like, a timeline argument, which is, like, kind of largely irrelevant to the larger conversation, if that makes sense. Like, yes, Emily might have slightly gotten her timeline wrong, and she might have been trying to throw off the person who she thought was stalking her, by saying she was in an apartment instead of in a home, which means that all of Shannon's arguments here about the timeline and, like, the dates would be incorrect.
messages were sent to Emily.
I don't know. This is just weird. It doesn't seem like it's really disproving anything other than trying to paint Emily as a liar by saying the timeline doesn't add up, but that's kind of easy to explain away. I guess we have to
keep asking the question of, like, what is the point of Shannon bringing this up?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, and the answer is always, oh, we're bringing it up because it implies one thing, which implies another thing, which implies this, and concludes this, which is always such weak argument. I mean, like, I'm having trouble, and I feel like literally everybody else who has watched Shannon's video or is here with us kind of understands that, like, this is a very, very weak video, and, like, even if we're trying our best to give, like, the benefit of the doubt to Creepshow, I know Spy wants to. For me, I'm like, she's not making it easy, so why even bother? That's my position, at least. But, like, I feel like just the majority of this is just such weak evidence that it's almost not even worth entertaining. But to give it, like, due diligence, it, like, I guess, you know, going through every part and making sure
it's painful due diligence, but it's due diligence. So if Shannon wants to just try to be like, oh, well, nobody actually read it, they just immediately dismissed what I was saying, you know?
Yeah,
we actually read it.
It's like we're trying our best here to not dismiss it.
Yeah, we're trying to read it.
We're trying to read all of it. It's kind of hard with how everything just kind of gets muddied and lost in translation.
The translation,
I feel
that is Shannon's
like this feels like an AI wrote a drama video. Like, this feels like an AI writing a drama video.
It's like those videos where it's like, I made an AI watch thousands of hours of Hallmark Christmas movies and then write its own. This is like, I made an AI watch thousands of hours of drama content and then had it write its own drama video.
That has watched all of Shannon's videos and has now come out with a new video script for her to read off of. Like, it's like there's like a semblance of something here, of a coherent thought, but it feels like just type vomit. I compare it to, like, word vomit all the time, but that's what this is. It's so hard to give this, like, a fair shake, honestly.
Yeah. And then Emily says, I also think that she wasn't counting on people to go back and actually check what Emily, like, actually claimed. Yeah, that's a pattern with Shannon. She'll say that people said things, but then it's like, hey, actually, no, we didn't. She did the exact same shit to me and Scrittus when she was responding to the document that we wrote in defense of Peaches. She just kept saying, oh, they said this, oh, they said that, and then it's like, bitch, where? We, like, please read. Please read and show us where we said this. When?
Yeah. She uses some clips from my video, then we cut it off and twist my words. I haven't watched
Dr. Goldroy
the
Bowser,
entire
do you
video.
have that image I sent
and she does it on multiple occasions. Yeah.
I do. This was the, if y'all are curious about how the dislikes, oops, let me pull this over.
All Shannon has proved to me that not every harassment message attributed to them was actually from them, and also that she has 100% been stalking Emily. Yeah.
This screenshot was taken last night, I think, and it was at not even 1,000 likes and over 16,000 dislikes.
Yikes.
You'll love to see it, though. Okay, let me finish chewing my taco. And then we'll continue.
Did you get Taco Bell delivered? Is that what it is?
No, I got Taco Ray delivered.
Oh. Is it like a local Mexican restaurant?
It's a local place.
Yeah.
I think it's a small chain, but it's better than Taco Bell. I do like Taco Bell.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
obviously,
So this
any like
says,
local Mexican restaurant is like leagues better than Taco Bell.
yeah,
But I feel like Taco Bell isn't even like Mexican food. It's
it's
kind of
not.
just its
It's
own thing.
Tex-Mex. It's comfort
It's
food.
literally just its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't get what Taco Bell sells at any other place.
This is true. Excuse me.
Like there will be times where you want Mexican food and there will be times when you want Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's how it works.
So, according to Emily's second video on my husband and I, she continued to have romantic conversations with Anthony throughout 2016 and showed messages between them from December of 2016, which would be a month after. Okay, so she's kind of going on the same timeline thing of her assumption of the timeline that is purely assumption and not definitive, the way Shannon is assuming it is. And then it says, we can prove Anthony and I had no part in this because I didn't have a phone at this time. Again, at this time, I didn't have a phone, so I couldn't have done it. But the time that she's presenting is not definitive. It's her assumption of when it happened. So it's like this whole argument is kind of not. Neither of us had a Snapchat under the name Kilgore Trout, and we can prove that through phone records, Apple ID. That would immediately... Okay, but this is, again, assuming that only at this time, that Shannon's assumption of the timeline is correct. I mentioned that we can prove our innocence, in this case, to another YouTuber who has since leaked all of my messages to Emily, and Emily quickly changed up her story in the YouTube comment section. Updates and clarifications. To be clear, Anthony did not break into my home and assaulted me. I knowingly invited him in, but because I was so heavily and visibly intoxicated, I was not able to consent. That didn't change. Emily said that in her original. She said that she would have people come in through her window. It's somewhere right around in here.
Shannon and Andrew both, and specifically Shannon, really, the manipulation, the intense orchestration of all of this, the sock puppet accounts, this is disturbing to me because, sorry, I don't have receipts for a lot of these YouTube comments. I don't remember what video. They're completely random Snapchat photograph. And they said...
I don't have the exact timestamp written down, but what Emily says is that, she says that she would have ex-boyfriend sneak in through her window. So she said that Anthony snuck in through her window, but she specifically said that that is how she would have people, like, come into the house. She didn't say that he broke in. She just said that she had him come in through the window. And then she was so heavily intoxicated. So she never said, like, oh, he broke into my house. Oh, he came without consent. Or any of that stuff. And then it says, to be clear, Shannon didn't initially know 2 of the photographs that they were using against me were of me when I was 15, 16. I pointed out to them at one point, and they just sort of ignored me. The Snapchat photographs are most likely not taken in my city. I'm guessing it's somewhere in their area. They were just piggybacking off my fear. Looks like Shannon deleted the rant video she made about how every art YouTuber makes a my art teacher hates me video, in which she used my vid in her thumbnail as an example. People are saying that in Shannon's stalker video, she mentions Amy having emo boys crawl through her window to visit her. Someone else pointed out, mentioned not having enough money for a PI or attorney when she referenced her stalker. She posted this video after I confronted her when I tell her I have hired both. Someone pointed out that I talk about a void. Okay, so this is just kind of like circumstantial stuff, but nothing about this is like changing the story. It's literally just clarifications of the story, like Emily says. This isn't changing the story like Shannon says it is.
No.
She changed her story to now say, oh, okay, she no longer believes we were in her area, but we were just posting photos from around her area to freak her out. I'm pretty sure that's what Emily said in the behavior, like in that part. Like, I just watched that part before starting the stream. I don't think that that's what she was saying. She believed at the time because she was paranoid that someone is in her area, but she never made a definitive statement on it. Yeah, it's Shannon is just trying to stretch and say that Emily changed her story when I don't think she did at all.
And I mean, again, this kind of like rests on, like, this whole argument rests on Shannon being correct about the timeline here, which, like,
is already doubtful, like, big time.
Is already in doubt,
so it's like it's more likely that, you know, the timeline is wrong than it's right here, and because her entire argument is kind of hinging on that fact of her being right about the timeline, of about her assumption about the timeline. It's like
yeah, that's what I was.
The rest of it just kind of falls like a house of cards. It's just,
that's exactly what I was saying on my Twitter. All that Shannon is doing is she is like making a statement, and she says this statement has to be correct. But then you dig and you're like, actually that statement doesn't have to be correct, but it's too late because Shannon has already run and made like 10 other assumptions off of that one statement that she said has to be correct, even though it doesn't.
This flimsy piece of wood must hold all of these bricks. It must balance all of these fucking bricks I've stacked on top of it. Like, that's Shannon's argument in a nutshell.
She built her sandcastle and then she's shocked that the tide is rolling in, essentially.
Yo, people already in the chat like, I miss the old Scrittus. I miss the old phone guy Scrittus.
Y'all miss phone guy Scrittus? I can stick him back on the
It really
cage.
do be like that.
The moment you change, you're suddenly worse, apparently. Even if you change for the better. Alright.
Alrighty, let's not start philosophizing. And then says, she never says why she didn't call the police to let them know she was getting what she considered to be death threats, and thought that someone was on her way to murder her, because there wasn't a direct death threat. She said that she was, like, paranoid worried that, like, someone was coming to murder her. That's not, no one was, Shannon, just shut up, okay? Instead, Emily took screenshots that she knew that Snapchat would notify her stalker of, meaning she chose to antagonize this person she thought was coming to kill her rather than call the cops. Taking a screenshot of a Snapchat isn't antagonizing the person. It's letting them know that you're collecting evidence, if anything. Like, I don't know how that counts as antagonizing. I don't understand Shannon's thought process on anything. Someone help me understand the mind of Shannon. It's like a goddamn labyrinth in there. And there's a minotaur in there somewhere.
Reading this is like John Swan trying to talk with Kai. Like, at first you're like optimistic, like, well, okay, you know, maybe we can give them a fair shake. Let's just deconstruct a few things. Let's do this. And then you like get into it and you're like, God, listen to me for 1 second.
It's like, well, you shut the fuck up.
We're in part 7. We're already at that point.
There should be some record of this happening with law enforcement. There isn't. Not necessarily. Emily went on to say on Twitter she went to the police department and told them about this, and they turned her away. However, if you called the cops as it was occurring, seeing as you thought someone was outside coming for you to kill you, there would be records of the not necessarily. You would at least get an incident report. That, again, this is just assuming that the events occurred the way Shannon is saying they occurred, when they didn't have to have happened like that. It's entirely possible that because here's a perfectly reasonable timeline of what could have happened. And this, I think that Emily might corroborate this. She had already been dealing with harassment and stuff, right? And she had been for some time at this point. She starts getting these really weird out of nowhere Snapchat messages that aren't directly threatening, but that obviously is gonna freak you out, even if you aren't someone who's already dealt with harassment. So in her mind, she's already feeling like kind of paranoid about it, but because there's no direct threats in there, she can't go to the police because she knows that they're going to look at that and be like, oh, there's no direct threats here. We can't do anything. So she just has to be kind of paranoid on her own and be prepared for something more to happen without literally going to the police beforehand, essentially. That makes sense to me. Oh yeah, this part was, God bless, the shortest part in this entire thing. Part 8. Anthony's tweets. And I, like, noted this. It's like Anthony lightly trolled her in order to figure out why she blocked him on Instagram, because they had been on good terms the last time they spoke, as seen in her post tagging him. And he wanted...
We like to have a little fun
do a
here.
little
We like
trolling.
to do a little trolling around here.
And he wanted to know what happened. He states as much in his messages. Emily also asks if he's the person harassing her, to which he replies no. Oh, yeah, because if he's going to say something, it will have his name and photo next to it. Like he had just done in the... Yeah, so why would he admit to harassing her if he were the person harassing her? He said he didn't do it, guys, so he definitely didn't do it.
I just did a little bit of trolling, guys. I just did a little bit of light trolling. I never harassed.
That's so odd. Like, why would he, be going to her to do that?
It's
like, she says to
trolling.
figure out why she blocked him on Instagram.
If I was harassing you, I would do it. If I was harassing you, I would make sure you saw my face.
Yeah,
said no one ever.
So Shannon is basically just admitting, like, oh yeah, Anthony did at one point totally troll her, but that was like totally a one-time thing, guys.
That was only just to figure out why he was blocked.
It only happened the one time, and never
I only trolled
again.
you because you blocked me, and I wanted to figure out why. I mean,
this is just to me. This just reads of like, oh shit, he literally did it on his actual Twitter. We need to explain this away because that doesn't look fucking good.
I just...
Why the fuck are we talking about the rewired soul?
So weird to me.
It's that I think she had like a literal oh shit moment when she realized that he literally was doing this shit on his actual Twitter with his literal face and name on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god.
The eternal question, why is Anthony not addressing this? Yeah. Maybe Anthony doesn't have a platform, or maybe they don't
Anthony
even
is
know
just
this
Shannon
happening.
in a different colored wig. Like, maybe Anthony's been dead for years.
Maybe Anthony is just an NFT for Creepshow. That's probably what it is. Creepshow NFT. Given life. That's my headcanon. It's a real life NFT of Creepshow Art.
Oh my gosh. Okay, part 9, the Rewired Soul. Emily states that she got hate from an account called DatBoyXD, and it was me. It was not. Guys, well, there it is. It's proven. She said it wasn't her. Pack it up. We gotta go.
Hey,
she said
Emily
it wasn't
states...
her.
So, DatBoyXD... Oh, God. It was not me. Okay, her stating that this account had to have been me. Okay, so you're not going to explain why it wasn't? I mean...
Emily said he never existed. I was actually sleeping with Shannon the whole time.
To be fair, you can't disprove a negative. So, like, if somebody accuses you of being that, it's not like you can, it's not like you can disprove that, like...
No, it's just funny because it's like, she said it was, but whatever.
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Somebody's accusing me of why it wasn't me, but there's really no, like, concrete way to...
It's just Shannon's way of wording things.
Get rid of that.
She accused
me. Yeah, you really just have... Yeah, it really is just the way of wording things in this scenario.
Because she's not wrong. You can't prove a negative, but it's just funny the way she words things sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's
get that boy in court.
Get that boy in court. I would like to call to the witness stand Dat Boy XD. Oh, he's not here.
Oh shit, what up?
It's Shannon.
Oh shit, what up?
Oh shit, what?
The judge
rolls.
Judge pounds his gavel. What up?
It's just a shitty PNG like cutout of like the frog on the unicycle rolling up.
Yeah, he's like unicycling towards the witness stand.
Oh my god. Her stating that this account had to have been me and could have only been me is entirely false and takes the entirety of the Rewired Soul situation out of context. I don't even remember what Emily said about the DatBoyXD account. And Shannon lovingly provides zero additional context to make this make any amount of sense.
So her stating that this account had to have been me and could have only been me is entirely false and takes the entirety of the rewired soul situation out of context. Well, that is out of context already. What even is the rewired soul situation? I feel this feels like reading like a fantasy novel where they're just referencing like the names and places of random things and not explaining what those are. Like, yes, the rewired soul event happened 2 years ago in the lands of Creepshodia.
Creepshodia.
Yeah.
That's what Creepshow calls the inside of
I guess
walls. Creepshodia.
I guess the only way to really counter somebody accusing you of doing one thing is to kind of call into question what their evidence is and say you don't have enough evidence to prove that this is me. Which is maybe what Creepshow is trying to do here, but all she really says is that it's false and then doesn't really back it up. It says when the drama with the rewired soul was happening, a lot of channels like my own talked about it openly and discussed what was going on and why we didn't like how Chris was using his channel. However, because his channel was mental health focused and appealed to vulnerable people, there were a lot of people who were affected by the situation who lashed out. So how does this call into question the accusation? That's my thing, right? Is like how does this link up with the initial statement? Like from a writing and argumentative perspective, and maybe Creepshow can watch along this and take some notes, right? How does this at all strengthen or call into question the evidence that Emily has presented that you were Dat Boy XD, right? It like that's my thing, right? That's kind of what this whole entire thing has been.
Again, it
so
is
far,
an AI program that we made watch every Creepshow Art video.
Yeah,
the AI picked up on the fact that Creepshow had several videos about the rewired soul, and it just vomited out a part related to it.
It just decided to like copy and paste a portion here somewhere for no reason, even though it doesn't link up to the previous thought. Like, if you're gonna bring up the fact that you're not Dat Boy, you should also bring up the evidence that Emily used to claim that you were Dat Boy and call it into question. Yeah. That's what you would do if you were trying to establish a good argument and sort of counter that. But what she does here is say, no, that didn't happen, and then moves on to a completely different topic out of nowhere. So, like, my brain is thinking, okay, so the next thing she's going to say is to justify why she is not Dat Boy XD. But then she just goes off on a completely different tangent where it's like, Shannon, what are you saying? What are you getting at?
The real Dat Boy XD.
I don't understand why you're bringing this up right now.
Yeah, I don't... That's my entire existence.
It's so frustrating.
It's like when she it was like in the video where she responded to our document where she spent like a decent chunk like just ranting about manga common, and it's like, why the fuck are you talking about manga common? What the fuck does manga common have anything to do with this?
And what does him saying anything about like not swearing around women have anything to do with anything?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Our point is this Shannon has been doing this for a while.
I will say this, too. I will call the fuck out of everybody who was in those comment sections and shit. You guys were cheering that shit on, okay? You were cheering that bullshit arguing style on. Don't pretend like some of y'all motherfuckers weren't doing that shit, okay? I saw you guys in the comment. Not you specifically in the chat or anything, but I saw some of you motherfuckers in the comment section being like, yes,
queen.
Shannon is spitting so many facts, and I'm like sitting here like the exact same way, and I'm like, what? How?
I'm the real dad. Everybody in the chat is doing an I am Spartacus. Argument. Everyone's doing an I am Spartacus with the I am Dat Boy XD.
Yeah, I am Dat Boy.
Okay, let's just get through this because it's
Alright, let's continue.
A lot of people who were directly affected by him dealt with mental disorders and were not coping with the stress well. They lashed out at creators critiquing Chris. They lashed out at people defending him. If you were present at the time, you would remember that one person who was critical of Chris ended up getting swatted, while another had a welfare check called on them. Rapzilla was hated by extension for her perceived friendship with Chris, and anyone who had collaborated with him was criticized heavily. People like Rapzilla, Leafy Greens, okay, blah, 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 were all harassed during this time because we were talking about the situation. For Emily to state that she got a message from someone harassing her doesn't surprise me, because everyone was getting that at the time, including me. But for her to say it was unequivocally me without evidence is just wrong. After her video dropped, Emily made various tweets accusing other people on Twitter of being me multiple times. None of these accounts are me, and they were very clearly trolls capitalizing on the situation. And she went further on to claim people criticizing her for lack of evidence were also me, and asked her fans to attack them. I asked for sauce, please. I think, okay, it's been a few years since I've studied Shannon Onyx in school, but I think I kind of think, my brain's getting fried, I'm so sorry. I think what she's trying to say is that did Emily ever talk about the rewired soul? Because that's the only way any of this makes a modicum of sense. Did Emily ever talk about the rewired soul on her channel?
I don't even know what the rewired soul.
Okay, so the rewired soul was like a guy who was like claiming to be like an online therapist, and he was like doing the armchair psychology thing where he like diagnosed other YouTubers with mental problems and stuff. Okay, so Emily did. So that's I think what Creepshow is trying to get at is that she's trying to say that the rewired soul was sending a lot of harassment to people. So for Emily to say that this one person harassing her during the rewired soul situation was definitely Shannon was incorrect, I suppose. And I mean, I guess it's I think it's possible that some of the people that Emily either was suspicious of being Creepshow or thought were Creepshow, like, weren't actually Creepshow. Like, I'm open to that possibility, you know? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if there were some times that Emily thought it was Creepshow, but it actually wasn't. It was just some other random person. That could have happened. But it's also kind of largely irrelevant to, like, the larger picture at play here, you know?
Yeah.
So this part is kind of just a wash. Okay, whatever. And I will say that I know that Emily, and it wasn't just Emily, though, it was a lot of people, were saying that, like, everybody was Creepshow, everybody, like, there was sort of, like, this hunt for Creepshow for a little while, where it's, like, anybody who said mildly anything in defense of Creepshow was like, oh my god, is this actually Creepshow? And I get that, like, some of that is just purely speculative, but also it was, there were times where I was, like, collectively just looking at the community, like, guys, can we calm down, like, a little bit?
Can we chill out?
Can we chill out a little bit on the whole everybody is Creepshow thing? Because, like, there was that one girl who got, like, a shit ton of harassment because a bunch of creators made a video saying that they were Creepshow.
Are there any other Creepshows I should know about?
Yeah, I don't think, I'm not talking specifically about Emily here, because I don't think Emily ever actually said, like, oh yeah, this person's definitely Creepshow, but there were other people in the community who were doing that. What was the one? There was, like, the Odell Blackwell something was the name, and, like, a bunch of YouTubers made a video saying, like, I think this person is totally Creepshow, just trying to come back and return, and then it turned out that it wasn't at all. And it was kind of like...
My whole thing with that is, like, why would Shannon feel the need to... Like, why would they think that Shannon would want to hide and, like, try to start again? Like, bro...
Oh, yeah,
people wouldn't need to do that.
Fix's art of being Creepshow. Yeah, I saw that as well. And it's like... I get speculation is fun sometimes, but I feel like just collectively sometimes things went, like, a little bit too far in terms of, like, the collective community being like, oh yeah, everybody's Creepshow, which it's fun to joke about, but it got a little out of hand, I think.
They literally,
I can never say it enough. The audiences are the ones that tend to take this shit out of proportion.
Oh yeah, for
the
sure,
most.
for sure.
And
yeah, Emily,
because
I'm pretty sure I remember that, Emily.
Responsibility. No one person feels ultimately guilty for the mass of harassment and stuff that goes on, but everybody is partially guilty for that, if not complacent in it. Mm-hmm. So it's like that is how social media goes, and I think there should be a better way of doing it. I think communities tend to reflect their creators, but it's not always like creators can control their communities 100% either.
I'm Creepshow. Yeah, someone said that I am Creepshow. Scrittus is actually a Creepshow as well.
Yeah, I am the real Creepshow.
Okay. Finally, part 10. Part 10. Give it up for day 83. Give it
day 83.
Emily states that I commented on this video multiple times under false names, shit-talking myself and saying it was me. This is not true. Oh, well, Shannon has never been known in any other circumstances to anonymously shit-talk herself. That's never happened, guys. That never happened.
Not once.
Not once.
Not even once.
What's lolcow? SMH. Yeah, Sauce, please. You guys can feel free to laugh at some of my random comments that I make. I remember the video when it came out. I got sent a fair amount of harassing messages saying it was me, and I thought that was stupid because when I watched the video, one of the qualifications was that the YouTuber who was harassing Emily had more subscribers than her, and I had nowhere near as many subscribers than her. But why is she talking about this? Didn't Emily, like, clarify pretty quickly that this video wasn't about Shannon? Like, I'm pretty sure Emily did that.
You would know better than me.
I'm pretty sure she did. Like, I remember, because people were asking her about it, and she was like, oh, no, that wasn't about Creepshow. I put the statement up just to say it wasn't me in a joking manner. I also repeated my position on okay, whatever. None of it had anything to do with Emily besides me stating that it wasn't me who she was talking about, okay? I should also draw attention to the fact that she stated in her YouTube video on me, what was all of this? This was all utterly irrelevant. Yeah, Emily's saying she did. She told people that it wasn't her. So what does any of this matter? I should also draw attention to the fact that she stated in her YouTube video on me. Like, you think if she's going to bring this up, she would bring up the fact that Emily said it wasn't her. Like, I don't know. I should also draw attention to the fact that she stated in her video on me that she never got any comments sent to her bringing up any other sort of art YouTubers besides myself, which is false, seeing as in her problem with a big art YouTube video, she states that another art YouTuber was sending harassment because she thought Emily was copying her art. This is completely misrepresenting what Emily even said in her video, because I watched it. All Emily said is that she got a larger than usual number of comments asking her about Creepshow and if she knew who Creepshow was. She didn't say that no other art YouTuber. She said, I think, like, the exact quote was something along the lines of, and I didn't get that with other art YouTubers, or something like that was the exact quote. She wasn't saying that, oh, nobody ever commented to me about any other art YouTuber. She was just saying, like, there was a higher than usual volume of comments about Creepshow Art, specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Emily said, it's just another example of her twisting her words. She shows at the end of her video that she has apparent screenshots that show it was me in the comments of the video, but blurs out the IP as not to dox me, seeing as I didn't have a home at the time. She wouldn't have been doxing my place of residence or be doxing me at all. So you're gonna rip her for being cautious? She also knew I was homeless at the time because I told her as much. Sorry, I had to burp there. Because I told her as much in our direct messages that same day. She chose to blur these messages out for some reason, as if they're incredibly sensitive and private, despite them being years out of date. Why she chose to blur them makes no sense. People know I was homeless, they just didn't know I actually got out of homelessness by moving into an apartment in October of 2019, and not earlier, like I said. She even went as far as to blur out my Mitch Hedberg joke, despite the fact that it wasn't private information and was literally a quote from a famous comedian that has an apt take on why I would hide that information. Here are the uncensored receipts. Also, as you can see, I can still respond to Emily because I was never blocked like she stated.
You know that TikTok where the guy is he's acting like an undercover cop?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, oh man, I totally do drugs all the time.
Anybody
you know what I'm saying, bro?
Anybody got a weed I could buy?
Anyone got a spiffy here? It's like anytime like Shannon goes into the comment section of other people's videos or like on lolcow forums, she's like, a Creepshow, am I right, guys? Anybody talking about Creepshow in here? We're all here to talk shit about Creepshow. Let's all talk shit about Creepshow. Fuck that bitch, am I right? Like, that's what it feels like. She's like going like undercover cop mode on these things. I mean, she like is 100% confirmed to do that on lolcow, which is exactly why she would like badmouth herself, because she wanted to portray herself as somebody who hated Creepshows, so she would get other people to chime in and agree with her and like start the conversation and see like what people actually think of her and blah 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 blah. You know, all that shit.
Yeah, Frankie,
but in reality, it was like
Frankie just
nobody
pointed
was
it out.
actually talking
Literally
about
in
her.
this message, it says, "Please don't tell anyone." So even if it's an old screenshot, Emily was just trying to be respectful of her wishes at the time and say, like, that just seems like, okay, so maybe Emily was being overly cautious with, like, why is this a rip against Emily? I don't understand. She said she blurred the messages because it was sensitive and didn't want to dox me, as if that would be a step too far after falsely accusing Anthony of rape and me of owning CP. God forbid you show the message where I say I'm homeless. You literally say in the message, please don't tell anybody. Like, she was probably just trying to do what she could. Like, there's still etiquette with that stuff, even if you're accusing somebody of... Like, I still blurt out the names of fucking Creep McPasta when his full legal name was on screen. Even though I was basically saying that he was a pedo. Because that's, like, just the courtesy of doing that shit. It doesn't have anything to do with, like, oh, doxing is, like, morally not as bad as a rape accusation. Ergo, why didn't you just put the whole message out there? Yeah, grasping at straws. That's exactly what all of this is. Okay, part 11, Amy, is really funny, but we gotta finish this up first because I made a note about it. She later backtracked and stated she tracked the IP address down to a library. She didn't backtrack. She just said that she wasn't going to say the name of the town until it was public information. And after watching some of my content, notice that this is where I stated I was uploading from was homeless. No, you said in an interview on another person's channel that you specifically uploaded from the Tigard Public Library. That's why she ended up coming out and saying, I have an IP address that led me exactly back to the Tigard Public Library. It didn't have anything to do with what you said in your video, Shannon. I remember that shit. Which doesn't line up with her reason as to why she didn't want to show the IP address in the first place, that the IP address leads to a library and wouldn't dox me, and she would have simply shown it. But it did lead to the library, Shannon. You're just kind of dancing around the fact that Emily managed to get an IP address from the library that you admitted in an interview to being at and uploading from and using the internet of. I like how she just very conveniently dances around that fact. She just tries to be like, oh, well, she says she wouldn't show it because it would be doxing, but it was a public location, so it wouldn't be doxing. Ergo, Emily's, like, being a liar and dishonest about all this. How about you address the fact that it's literally pointing a giant red arrow at the place you admitted to being and the place that you admitted to uploading from and using the internet of? Why do you gloss over that fact? She waited 6 months so that we would forget these details. But I have the memory of an elephant. I forget very little, except for my own name sometimes. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So this is just stupid.
Her brain rot.
Listen,
the brain rot is meant.
You want to know how bad my brain rot was yesterday? My mother was, like, asking me what was wrong because I was, like, kind of out of it. And I tried multiple times to tell her that I had brain fog, and I just kept saying brain frog, like, over and over again. I kept telling people I had brain frog. It was not
as
good.
As long as you can't communicate, you can't disprove Creepshow. Her tactic is working.
So either she had an IP address for a library and lied to say it contained my docs, or she had an IP address that led to somewhere. She did have an IP address for the library. And what do you mean she lied to say it contained your docs? She just didn't want to docs where, I guess, like, the town that you allegedly were living in. Because that can be considered private information. That could be fucking docs. Yeah, I had that boy on the brain. That's what it was. But
brain frog.
Like, she's like arguing against nothing.
That boy has sunk into your brain. It's festering, growing. A little Pepe is growing in your head right now.
Yeah, so she's literally like just. This is like the definition of someone told me what the actual quote was. If you can't charm them with your brilliance, baffle them with your bullshit. This is what this is. Baffling with bullshit.
Yeah.
Is what all of this is. Amy, okay. This part's good, and I have something on Twitter that I'll have to show about this one. So this part is going to be brief, but Amy is not a reference to Emily. Amy is the name of a girl who used to harass me online, who I originally met on stardoll.com. What the hell is that? Doesn't even matter, but I'm just curious now. When I was in middle school. As I say in the video, Amy did not grow up in San Jose with me. We never knew each other personally. She was someone I strictly knew online who lived states away from me. Emily tried in her video to state that the video was secretly about her, and that I was setting a backstory up to one day say that she was actually Amy. And by simply calling her Amy, I was referencing her, because according to her, I was trying to lay breadcrumbs online in order to paint Emily as a malicious stalker. This is not the case, and also very stupid. Brilliant argument, Shannon. Brilliant argumentative skills.
So I guess... apparently Stardoll is like the Club Penguin for girls, in a way.
Club Penguin was gender neutral.
You have like these character models that you dress up and I think it's like a chat room? It's a browser-based game from Glorious Games. It's an online fashion game. So like, do you just like... I mean, not that this is relevant or anything, but like, I mean...
We gotta figure out what
would be something that
Creepshow Art was the developer of Stardoll.com, y'all.
On.
And she
they created Stardoll.com.
Oh my god, it all makes sense.
Oh god, it just screams like 2000s, early 2010 fucking online browser game. God, the UI is so ugly.
I see people in my chat talking about it. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. But
it's like Neopets, but with like real people with uncanny valley faces, because they're like those weird like.
Hang on, I'm looking this up.
Photorealistic drawn faces where it's like they took the picture and just painted over it or something. That's that kind of shit.
Oh boy.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen some of this shit before. What a random place to say that you meet a person at. But anyways, the video I put up, which is still
It's a chat room with avatars.
Yeah. Has various details about Amy and Emily that don't match up. It would make no sense for me to say that Emily and I were friends online or ever, seeing as I never knew her outside of being a friend of some friends and one of my boyfriend's exes from before I even had a crush on him. Me stating that she grew up states away would also not align with her being Emily, seeing as Emily went to school in California. Makes no sense for the video to be about her. Here are the emails between Amy and I from middle school. These are exactly in line with what I say in my video. I didn't post these originally because one, they're cringy as fuck, and we non-ironically talk like the characters from My Immortal. That is a niche reference right there. And two, I don't have access to my high school email where the harassment was sent. Now this is interesting. Let's see if I can find the particular screenshot that I saw people talking about on Twitter. Oh, why are these all so small? Oh yeah, here it is. So do you see here how it's signed Amy? This email is signed Amy as if that's actually her name. But, and this is where some holes in Shannon's story are starting to fall apart. I liked it, so let me go. Here it is. So there, see, that's the one that I just pulled up. And look, I was stalked for over 8 years by a woman I called Amy. That's not her real name, because I was protecting her identity. But here we have this from allegedly 2006 of the literal name Amy being signed. So was Shannon lying about her name actually being Amy and she changed it to protect information? Or are these screenshots bullshit? Or she just did actually happen to talk to somebody named Amy back in the day? Yeah, why suddenly is Amy not an alias? Why is Amy suddenly now an actual name of a person? When the story before was, like, the story was always before that Amy was, like, an alias to protect identity. Also, sorry if you hear
the chair squeaking.
Yeah, it's not my chair, it's my mic stand. I need to oil this bitch up. But, like, why is the story changing now suddenly? That doesn't make any sense, does it? You gotta love it, don't you? You love when people just tell on themselves. It's so good. But yeah, there's just a shit ton of emails. Yeah, there's another one where she signs it Amy. When Amy wasn't actually the name of the person, guys. It was just an alias. But actually, now her name actually was Amy. And there are emails to prove it. She also... Yeah, that was another thing. It has been a little while since I watched that video, but didn't she say that she, like, deleted all of the old emails with Amy? Doll says that. I think that might be true. I can't verify that off the top of my head. But...
Yeah, I blame Sonic for this, too. Wonkers. I blame Sonic for this, too.
Oh my god.
Keep a leash on your woman, Sonic.
It's important to know that two things can be true and not negate the other one. That is an incredibly ironic statement given everything else in this document. Emily and I could have gone through something similar, that being her online harassment, and still not speak, get along, or any of that. Her trying to say that because she thinks I did this, I could have never been stalked, and then going on to invent a situation. Well, I would say that this is normally true, except for the fact that in real time, we are watching you change your story about your stalker in these screenshots. like, girl, you're fucking telling on yourself. Excuse you.
Just self-report.
Okay, give it up for part 12. Part 12, everybody.
Part 12. Woo! Let's hear it for part 12.
Okay, this is kind of the part where, like, things really just start going off the rails. In the video after I let Emily know that an account messaged me and sent me some weird information.
I just want to say that it's so inspirational that Shannon managed to accomplish NaNoWriMo so well. She managed to write an entire novel in the month of November.
Oh, yeah.
For this drama.
Good job, Shannon. You completed NaNoWriMo.
Good, great. You completed NaNoWriMo. That's something I can't do, man. So, kudos.
Good lord. In the video after I let... She needs an editor, though, is what she really needs. In the video after I let Emily know...
She needs a friend to proofread this, yeah.
Yeah, that too. After I let Emily know that...
She doesn't need an editor, she needs a friend.
Creepshow's her own friends. God. That's just a different wig in the wig closet.
Yeah.
After I let Emily know that an account messaged me and sent me some weird information on her that I was uncomfortable with, none of which was what she stated it was. She stated that if someone else was harassing her and sending weird messages about her to other channels, they would have, quote, just made a video on her themselves. She also stated that no one else got these messages, but I know for a fact that Hopeless Peaches... There she is! There she is. I know her. And
she said the word!
She said the word! She said it like she said it. Okay. And one account that no longer exists also got these messages. Oh, that's very information verifiable. That's very useful for information verification. It's an account that doesn't exist, but it got this as well. Thanks, Shannon.
So wait, very she also useful. Stated... Wait, hang on. Let me catch up here. She also stated that no one else got these messages, but I know for a fact Hopeless Peaches and one account that no longer exists also got these messages. But because we talked about how uncomfortable it made us, okay?
Okay, I wonder if
So-
Peaches could confirm or deny that. But yeah, Emily is saying in account she
Peaches
said that it was
confirm or
Brandon at
deny.
first. Yeah. Oh, apparently Brandon like made a video too. We'll get to that.
And like, even if it is confirmed or denied, I'm not entirely certain what's
Oh,
what
and
they're
this
getting
is
at here. Let's see.
this is just like the character assassination part where she just starts talking about all of like
Sent me some-
the bad shit that Emily has said in her past that she's already addressed and like said that she was not a good person for. So I find that utterly irrelevant. I didn't make a video because I didn't know about those things until now. I didn't make a video then, and I'm only making one now because you falsely accused Anthony and I of stalking you. You kind of have already admitted, though, that he... Okay, whatever. While also stating you have no evidence and would lose a court case. She says that her evidence is circumstantial. That's not no evidence. And yeah, circumstantial evidence is hard to prove in a court case because the court is always supposed to default to plausible deniability. But that doesn't mean inherently that you're not guilty or innocent. It just means that that's how the court system is meant to work. So, whatever. Again, just stupid bullshit that she's rambling on about. She also states that me telling her that someone messaged me like this was my... Oh my god, what a fucking sentence. She also states that me telling her that someone messaged me like this was my way of saying I have so much information on her. Me saying I didn't do something and wasn't going to do something was not my way of telling her I was going to do something. I think I just had a lobotomy performed on my brain. I think that reading that sentence actively carved out a chunk of my prefrontal cortex as I was reading it.
So she's saying that I told you that I wasn't going to do something and that I didn't do something. That did not mean that I actually did. I think that's what they're saying.
We need to make like inspirational quotes of some of Shannon's quotes like throughout this
Basically,
document.
Shannon is trying to say that they weren't being like...
I'm gonna do that after this live stream.
They weren't alluding to the fact that they already did something. Or they're like in their own way trying to say that.
I get what she's trying to get
they're
at.
saying
but
they
it's
completely
worded so-
denied everything, and that was not their way of saying that they did it.
I'm moving on before I have a stroke. She also states that me telling her that... Oh wait, no, I already read that. Emily purposely misrepresents anything I have said to her to make it appear as if I am telling her the opposite. If I tell her I understand what she's going through and am more than happy to sign a restraining order or any legal document that states I will not contact her, that means I am engaging in psychological warfare with her and using reverse psychology to say that I won't. If I tell her that I am sorry for what she is going through because I know how isolating being harassed online can be, I am actually telling her that I'm the one who has been doing this all along and am getting joy out of this. I mean, in isolation, that's not incorrect, but have you paid any attention
Man,
up
can
to
you
this
just give
point?
me like a little bit of space? Oh, I'm sorry. Should I just get a restraining order then? I'll get one if you want me to. No, you don't need to do that. I just mean like, like, I don't know, just like stop being in my DMs for a little bit, like, oh yeah, I'll just get the restraining order then. Like,
yeah. I also provided Emily a way to send me a restraining order that would have been just as legally binding without spending money, something she stated that she didn't want to do at the time because she was out of money, and I agreed to sign it. I think that restraining orders cost
but
money
like,
to
why
file.
would you... Okay, so like, why would you provide someone else with a restraining order when you could just, and this might sound crazy, leave them alone? Why do you need something to legally happen to yourself if you go with it? Like, are you saying that you can't trust yourself to not leave them alone?
I don't know
and
what
not,
the fuck she's
like,
trying to say
harass
here.
them? Yeah, I don't understand what... Like, Creepshow's basically saying, like, oh, I sent her all of the things she needed to get a restraining order against me, but she didn't do anything. Like, what? How does that make any sort of sense whatsoever? Like... when in reality, it could have just been way easier, Shannon, for you to just not show up anywhere near them or do anything. Just You didn't even need a restraining order. If you wanted to leave them alone, you could have just left them alone.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, someone else said it in chat. She's also like very much dramatizing like what Emily actually said in her video. Yeah, that's very true. She's very much like just kind of stretching, and she's pulling strings in very select and very calculated places. Yeah, that was another thing. She also blamed Brandon and said, "Oh yeah, it was totally Brandon," but there's like no mention of Brandon in this document. I don't think there's a single one, ironically. I also provided Emily. Okay, this is why no lawyer she took this to supported the idea of taking this to court. And then there's this tweet. I think it's funny that people are claiming my evidence wasn't concrete proof when Shannon started deleting select videos before she blew everything up to try and cover her tracks. Why do that? If she wanted to leave social media, why not leave? Why delete? Well, Emily is completely correct that that is highly suspect behavior. It doesn't technically make the evidence concrete proof. It does add to the circumstantialness of the evidence, though, and the suspiciousness of Shannon's behavior during all of that. So this tweet isn't really incorrect, outside of maybe just the phrasing of concrete proof. But other than that, there's nothing about this tweet that's incorrect.
Yeah, also, I'm not even certain if I read it right. Was it like, did Emily propose the restraining order? Or is it's like Creepshow saying, like, that they left them a way to send it to them?
If I'm remembering correctly, I think Emily wanted to send a restraining order to Anthony specifically, and then she messaged Creepshow about trying to get an address, if I'm remembering that correctly. Emily's in chat, so she might be able to clarify. And I think Shannon, like, in the messages with Emily was being, like, she did seem like she was going, like, she's playing ball, essentially. And she's being like, oh yeah, you could send it.
She's saying, yes, I will sign and agree to this restraining order, no problem.
Yeah.
Because she's saying that I wouldn't violate it anyway, is probably, I guess, what she's trying to say.
Yeah, I think that's what she's trying to say.
Well, just get a restraining order for me anyway. All right.
Woo!
So that was my
13.
bet. I think I misinterpreted that part.
Wow, Scrittus is stupid, everybody. Hashtag
Scrittus not dumb. Worthy.
Scrittus dumb. Back in the cage with you.
Commentary community. Admitted fault. Forever bad.
Yeah, also Shannon did mention Brandon. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. You're the chat man. I'll read it. Also, Shannon did mention Brandon. She implied that I was ableist for arguing with Brandon because he's autistic, but at that time, Brandon even said he was undiagnosed at the time. Yeah, I like how Shannon likes to claim other people are ableist, and it's like, oh, okay. We've seen those locale messages, honey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Give it up for part 13!
Part 13! This is only 2014, let's go!
Oh, yeah, Emily says that Shannon posted about her on her Instagram story, and it sent her over the top, and I confronted her, and I mentioned wanting a restraining order, and she said, I can give you a P.O. box if you want. So that's how that... Yeah. So you were slightly off, but that's okay, Scrittus. We still love you. In compiling evidence to potentially take this to court, I reviewed my old Facebook logs, potentially take this to court. At first, she was taking it to court. I reviewed my old Facebook logs that I downloaded before I deleted my account in 2019. In this record, I found that Emily has had an issue with me since 2014, very shortly after Anthony and I started talking again. When I left a review for her boyfriend's work, I didn't know her boyfriend worked there, and the review was left when Anthony and I weren't speaking. So this is, I guess, the review. I didn't know her boyfriend was working there. They had asked for Facebook reviews as they were leaving, and it was such a nothing interaction. I don't remember much of it. However, Emily saw this review and messaged Anthony about it, telling him I hate her. Here are the messages, read bottom up. Oh, and Emily thinks you hate her. Why? She messaged me something about a review online or something about her friend's crazy ex-girlfriend who smashed a violin or something. I don't know why she thinks it was you. And then Shannon says, wait, what? What does this have to do outside of maybe Emily was paranoid about something that wasn't actually quite what Emily thought it was? I don't know how this is, like, super relevant, though. Oh, God, there's more. I left a nice review, though, so I don't get why she's mad. So she read a review and found out that it was you, and now she thinks she hates you. Well then, not foolproof logic. Full-proof logic. F-U-L-L. So like I said, she found out you talked to her boyfriend once in a store and told a story about it online, so we are connected in some way. You okay, that's literally just a stroke. You wrote a review about it. I must have. Well, now she thinks you hate her. Wait, I did, because the girl was actually really cute and said that if we were serious, they would do this shit for us and it'd be super helpful. I definitely... How did she make that jump? I guess saying I definitely don't hate her? How could she make that jump? I'm sorry. Should I tell her I don't? It really won't affect me either way. I just don't want her wrath on me. No, it doesn't. You are connected to her in some way now, so you hate her too. I thought her boyfriend had serial killer potential. That equals hate. Was she the fucking girl in the store or something? I was gonna see how much my violins cost because my ex smashed his. And it was gonna be a whole everyone chips in and buys him a new one thing. Oddly enough, he got back together with that girl and she ended up buying him a new one. Well, she knows you now and doesn't like you. Her boyfriend works at the store you visited. Wait, what the hell? Yeah. I don't know what... I guess other than Shannon is saying here that she doesn't hate Emily, that's kind of the only semi-relevant thing. Scrittus, what do you make of this?
Like... really throwing the ball
Just
at
the
me
giggle.
right now. I'm not
Just the giggle.
prepared to catch it. Brain crash.
Come on, brain. Come on, brain.
Come on, brain. Think of something witty to say. Yeah, I literally have just been paying attention to chat while you read off. Couldn't tell you what I fucking think about this part. I heard they left a nice review. Cool.
And also, I think someone else was saying it. This could also just be Anthony manipulating the situation. Because Anthony is acting as the middleman here, and he's kind of not a very trustworthy narrator from a lot of the other stuff that we've seen. So even if it were Anthony manipulating Shannon into hating Emily over, like, some BS story, like, that's also a possibility. Like, I really don't see how much of this is relevant. Oh, hey, that was all that entire fucking part was?
Shannon
What
be
does
like,
this have to
disagree,
do
plus
with
ableist,
anything?
plus ratio.
Plus sexist, plus racist, plus ratio, plus L, plus get
ratio,
off Twitter.
plus L, plus lol L nerd,
Plus you're white, plus you're straight.
plus you're white.
Okay, this is the other part where she just fucking starts going through, like, every fucking social media post that Emily ever had when she was a child and saying, oh, Emily said bad shit when she was young. Like, no fucking shit. Emily has already addressed all of that. Including, like, I guess Emily had, like, an inappropriate crush on a teacher when she was in 7th grade. And somehow that... I mean, like, this is certainly very intense, especially for, like, a 13-year-old, but... Emily has also
Oh, hey,
kind of...
it is Tumen. It is the Tumens.
Oh, Thuman's here.
Is Tumen, like, is she Swedish, or... I know she's, like, some sort of Nordic
I have no idea.
country.
You could ask Thuman.
I will make fun of you for being Swedish if you are Swedish, Thuman.
I'm Swedish,
think I won't.
genetically. How do you feel about that?
You're Floridian more than you are Swedish.
I mean, I can't argue with that. Yeah, Emily says the violin story never happened, so that part doesn't seem relevant at all to anything that's going on, other than maybe saying that Anthony was, like, trying to, like, maybe he, like, has a weird fetish where he, like, likes his exes or his current girlfriends to hate his exes, so he's trying to, like, goad Shannon into hating Emily. This is very deviant art, which is just funny, and I know that this is kind of in a serious context, but this is all just kind of funny to me. Like, just the fucking anime style middle finger shirtless man. Yeah, I mean, this is certainly very intense, but also it was when she was 13 fucking years old. What do I care about any of this?
Oh my god.
Why do you even have all of this, Shannon? Who the fuck even... This is from 2006.
Listen, I'm only cringing at this because it reminds me of my own drawing.
I'm sorry, this was really fucking funny. It's like stretched and it just has Emily.
You know that DeviantArt pose that everybody draws for no reason, even though it's a pose that nobody would actually take, where they have like their fucking arm up and like their fist closed?
Mm-hmm.
You know the pose I'm talking about?
I think so. I love this. Hang
on, they're like standing and they've got like one arm up and their fist closed.
Sorry, everybody. This is now
it's
a critique
weird.
of Emily Artful's art from 2006. Can we discuss how this arm is completely detached from his torso, and it's incredibly skinny. His head is totally out of proportion. It looks like she just uses a watercolor brush to color it in. She doesn't have consistent line work. Overall, I give it about a 4 out of 10.
We've cyberbullied Creepshow long enough. We need to cyberbully Emily just to keep it balanced.
Yeah, that way Shannon can't accuse us of having a bias.
We need to start shitting on Emily for her bad art that she drew when she was in high school.
She continues to post about this adult man. Again, wow, teenager has inappropriate crush on a fucking teacher. Who would have thunk? Like... Who would have, like, what? I don't understand.
That's how he actually looked in real life. It's actually a 1-to-1 depiction. He had his throat arm and everything. That's why he was so hot.
Great.
He had a throat arm. It was
I don't know why
quirky.
any of this is fucking relevant. She's trying to make a point about how, like, Emily, like, had a history of, like, blaming her ex-crush. This is totally different than accusing an ex of, like, abusive behavior. This is a fucking 13-year-old from 2006 who has an inappropriate crush on a teacher and made, like, an OC about it, and then, like, was already, like, admittedly mentally not doing great.
Listen, if I'm ever faced with the shit that I wrote and fucking drew when I was in fucking high school or middle school, I will recede into my own spinal cord and out my asshole. I cannot deal with it.
Oh, I was about to say, if people like, found like my cringy ass account
on my
from like
YouTube
2014,
channel that are privated.
Yeah, I will say this is just 13 years. I remember that like when I was like 13 years old, I tried to start like a fucking crusade on like iFunny against like quote unquote offensive humor, and I thought that I was on like some moral mission on the internet. Like, we all did stupid, cringy shit at 13 and 14 on the fucking internet.
Yeah. Good old dream stands are the epitome of those people. Let's be real.
Yes.
And then you've got like older people mixed in who are like very talented artists and stuff, but then you've also got like the majority being like those 15-year-olds who are like it's what we used to be, guys. Let's not forget. We want to forget, okay?
Yeah.
We don't want to remember that we were that bad, but we were, okay? Every one of us. And if you're thinking, nah, I was actually pretty good, you blocked out those memories, okay? You blocked them out of your mind. They are omitted from your mind right now. You were cringe in middle school. Nobody was not cringe in middle school. There is not a single person who was cool when they were in middle school, okay?
Oh my god, yeah, it's...
Not one.
I was cringe as fuck in middle school. There is a photo of me on my mother's Facebook account, and I will not be giving any additional details because it is cringe and I do not want to be doxxed, of me on my first day of 7th grade. I am wearing capris, flip-flops, and an Angry Birds t-shirt that says Nerdy Birdie, and the Angry Bird is wearing, like, glasses and a bow tie. And that is a picture that exists of me. And I hate it. I hate it so much. There's also like a maybe I'll show it one day,
like,
but
sweatpants, a wrestling shirt, and like fucking helmet hair. And then I wondered why I got bullied for having a big head. It's like it was my hairstyle. Literally, my fucking hairstyle made my head look fucking huge. Also, my head was kind of bigger than most, but it was also the hairstyle.
Also, me and my friends discovered while we were looking at some old photos of me that I fucking looked like Mandy from iCarly when I was younger. Like, I gotta. Yeah, I looked like this. When I was fucking... This is what I fucking looked like when I was like... Oh, probably like 10, 11, that sort of age. That's what I fucking looked like. It's awful.
Oh, God.
Okay, but back on topic a little bit. Emily also created a DeviantArt account for him. Okay, so for the teacher, which she uploaded her art to as if it's his own. It appears that everything on this account is either about her or related to her, and it's unclear if he ever had access to this. No shit, he didn't have access to this account. It's just another fucking, like, weird 13-year-old having... This is funny. Hang on. I'm gonna put this on a t-shirt. Fuck me to the bone. Everybody die because I'm gonna fuck y'all to the bone. Emily, please, I'm begging you. Please make merch with this on a t-shirt and I will buy it. Please, I'm begging you. I will buy this shirt so fast. No. If you put this on a t-shirt, I will buy it so fast and I will wear it. God. It's so fucking funny. Bleg, you can all kiss my ass. Die, Bleg. You sent me to hell and you forgot your sole purpose is to die, Bleg. Everyone exploded and the blood ate me away. Yay. Die, Bleg. And then the devil said to me, you're hot, and I fucked him. Die. Bleg. And then I vomited my soul on his brains. Die, Bleg.
Emily's credibility is in the gutter.
I'm about to say, Emily's
completely
in the
destroyed. Shattered. Absolutely no coming back from something like this. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I'm on Creepshow's side this time.
Yeah, I'm really.
That was pretty cringe.
I really like the part that says, "Then the devil said to me, you're hot, and I fucked him." That's gotta be my favorite. Oh, I'm happy that you're having a laugh. I'm having a laugh too. This is fantastic. Yeah, it's just reminding me of like my cringy, edgy, like 13-year-old days.
Oh my god, man. Dude. Oh, good.
I'm so fucking not pretty that he'd rather see her naked, spelled N-E-K-K-I-D, than me. He'd rather be with her than me because I'm so fucking ugly. Well, things a fucking lie. I thought we had something because we were so fucking close. Guys, Emily's credibility fucking destroyed. Did you see that she was a cringy emo child when she was 13 years old on DeviantArt?
Her parents have left the stadium. They're disappointed. Always have been, always will be. The rest of her... she is losing subscribers in record numbers. Mm-hmm. This is making Shane Dawson's Exodus look like nothing in comparison. Oh my god.
Oh my god. This is just funny.
She'll be at 20k by the end of this this live stream.
And to be clear, Emily, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. And we're all just collectively laughing at the 13-year-oldness of this all.
Well, no, I'm laughing at her. I'm completely bullying Emily.
She then gives some other this is all so fucking irrelevant. Like, it's just like, oh, people were mean to me and I need a hug. He ruined my life. He still loves me, but he doesn't want to risk hurting me again. But I don't care as long as he's with me.
This is literally every high school girl I knew.
Yeah, this is like...
This is actually every high school girl I knew. This is very normal.
Oh no, and then Emily made a post when she was 13 that she was like, thought maybe she was pregnant, but then got her period, so she maybe had a miscarriage. Oh no, Emily was a cringy 13-year-old. Oh no. What's this? Is there any content in here? Okay, so this is just her, like, I guess saying. Accuses him of abuse when they do not get back together. All you ever did was take my life away and now I'm here? That's not accusing somebody of abuse. That's just more edgy 13-year-old shit. All you ever did was take my life away and now I'm here. This is clearly an accusation of abuse, folks. Clearly. Plain as fucking day. She also posts on this blog about how she wanted to post nudes of herself in the post titled, Damn Underage Nudity Laws. Oh no, a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old wanted to inappropriately post things like a lot of stupid fucking 13-year-olds did. Oh no.
It was it was fairly common to do that.
Yeah, like,
even if your parents like monitor you and shit, like they would still fucking do it.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh my
It's not
God.
uncommon. It's
This
just not
is-
talked about.
Oh no,
Actually,
she
it
said
wasn't
that one of her
rude.
exes tried to hit her once,
Yeah,
and she's scared to see him in person.
apparently.
So now that means she just has a history of accusing people of abuse. Oh my God, this is just funny to me. At this point, they were over, so she continued to post about him, both claiming he was an amazing boyfriend, but also this is just 14-year-old high school shit. This is all fucking irrelevant. I really am. I complain about him, and then I expect people not to think about. Okay, yeah. So just edgy 14-year-old stuff that's not relevant at all. Also,
So,
look at
the
how
only
cute.
reason to bring something up from somebody's past, usually, is to either hold them accountable for something they haven't owned up to, or because it's basically a track record of something they did that like kind of shows that they haven't changed. But this is neither of those things.
Also, Emily said that the photo
This
she
is kind of
posted that
just
got
Emily
taken
was a
down.
cringy 13-year-old,
Yeah.
14-year-old, whatever.
Emily said
but-
that the picture was her bare back with a Photoshop tramp stamp on it. Was the photo that they took down that Shannon is saying was like child pornography. Oh my God, this is so fucking. This is amazing. I love this. Oddly enough, Emily would have been posting to the Emily Luera. Is that how you pronounce it? DeviantArt account while dating Anthony and using. Didn't she say earlier that she wasn't using heroin while dating Anthony, or is she trying to say this as like two separate events? Like she posted this while she was dating Anthony and then later using heroin, but she worded it so poorly that it almost sounds like she's saying these two things occurred simultaneously.
The Creepshow Art superposition.
Yeah.
It is and isn't depending on the circumstance.
Yeah, Creepshow Art's box. It's like, or cat.
Depending on when you observe it.
Some
It
of her-
changes when you observe it.
China White, oh glorious day. Can I have this on a hat? I want that on a hat. The previous blogs also have statements of Emily. Okay, yeah, so like this is the same shit. Like, oh, she said cringy racist shit when she was 14 and it was stupid. Like, who would have fucking thought? Or the same thing, I guess, of saying that she didn't do drugs, which is like. This is what I was talking about in the last stream. This is what I was talking about last stream, where Creepshow is trying to simultaneously paint young Emily as a reliable and an unreliable narrator. Because she's trying to say that Emily states that she has severe memory issues that result in her getting so disoriented she throws up. And she had traumatic brain injuries and shit, so implying that she's just crazy. But then also she was totally being truthful and honest every single time she said she didn't do drugs. Like, you can't have it both ways. But Shannon wants it both ways.
Wait, what's this about? Not something racist? Hang on. Shannon has nothing even semi-recent that suggests I'm still this shitty. Not something racist. What?
Yeah, well, like, because I think there was...
Brandon claimed the same thing in his video. Yeah. I mean...
I don't know, there was something that... I think I remember seeing a screenshot, I think it was earlier, where it was... Where, like, in one of the old, like, Q&As, there was just a screenshot that says, I can be kind of racist sometimes, but I'm not anti-Semitic. Or something like that. But it's, like, it's also kind of just all... I don't even understand what any of this is relevant for. Because even if that were true, like, people... Like, oh my god, I just don't think any of it's relevant, honestly. From a dam to a dam. Okay, so this is...
Very clever wordplay.
Yeah. She writes that this person posts... Okay, so great. So just... Okay, so this is from 2010, which is a little bit more recent. She writes... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. She writes that this person was the coolest person she ever met. Only 2 days later, posts a status saying that she was the best thing that could have happened to them and that they are blinded by the idea of someone else. Oh, no. Crazy... I don't... Why... These are just some of the posts that she is making. This doesn't have anything to do with continuing behavior. 90% of these posts of her are her being cringy on DeviantArt at 13. Shannon, what do you mean? This proves pattern of behavior. This doesn't prove shit. She has multiple videos accusing her exes of her abuse. I thought she said before that she only had 2. She said that she had one abusive relationship in her I Dated a Sociopath video, and then her other video that she talked about earlier was talking about how his ex-girlfriend was crazy, not even the actual ex himself. She said she was in an abusive relationship in 2015 2016 with a person who was abusing drugs, who cheated on his girlfriend with Emily, who was a terrible person. So why does this not raise alarm bells to Shannon that maybe if her boyfriend who was abusive was using drugs in 2015 to 2016, that it's also possible Emily was exactly like she said she was? Like, that, does that not set off anything else to any other people? Because to me it does. But no, because according to Shannon, Emily only ever claimed sobriety in 2012, and that's the only possibility. And then there's her He Cheated on Me video, where she stated a mutual friend cheated on her with a blonde Asian woman who liked to party, who was, quote, such a crazy bitch, she sent her a cease and desist to make sure Emily didn't talk to him anymore. Then there's the video, I would like links to, well, I mean, I think she put links earlier, talking about how tell a boyfriend, yeah, that was the crazy but that was a crazy ex-girlfriend, that she didn't even say anything bad about the actual boyfriend, other than that he went back to the crazy bitch. Then there's her video talking about how her ex-girlfriend was totally crazy, came through her window one night drunk, wanting to have sex. And then there are her false, yeah, but this is the thing, this was all based off of Shannon's own assumptions. Emily herself never said that Bob forced her into cam work. That was 100% Shannon's assumption that Bob was the ex that forced Emily into cam work. That's 100% Shannon's own assumption. We already talked about that earlier. Emily never said anything about Bob forcing her into cam work. Shannon assumed that, and she's now stating it as a fact. And then there's her, yeah, and then again, provably false claims of rape against Anthony. They're not provably false. Nothing Shannon has provided here makes the claims provably false, like she claims they are. Whatever. Her claims.
Well, it was provably false that Peaches wasn't a liar too. So.
Yeah. Right.
I mean.
Part 15. This is actually technically the last, like, official, like, part. Part 15!
Woo!
Woo! Part 15!
Woo! That's what I've been waiting for!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby!
I also found evidence
That's
of
what
Emily,
it's all about!
I also found evidence of Emily claiming that she is being stalked and harassed by certain accounts, only for those accounts to be shown to belong to her. This account on 9gag went by the name Snacky Packy, using Emily's images. Oh god,
9gag.
Mm-hmm. Her stated profession, and would comment on posts saying women weren't as attractive as she was, that anyone who was overweight was just lazy and should stop eating, and that most men are intimidated by her because she is attractive and smart. She also apparently had a sex addiction, and her boyfriend at the time wasn't satisfying her. So so even if this were Emily, that would just be more of the same, like, oh, so she was kind of a shitty person before. Great. And then I ignored this account for the most part because on a separate account that I already confirmed as belonging to Emily, Emily stated that this account was not her and was in fact a stalker. Oh yeah, I'll talk about this in a second. However, upon looking into the account, it's clearly her. On this account, she talks about her favorite anime, One Piece, and her favorite character from the anime, who she made a self-insert comic for. She talks about her sobriety from heroin specifically. See, I looked, nowhere in any of these screenshots is there any talk of sobriety. So that's why I was like, where? Because none of the screenshots that Shannon posts anywhere talk about sobriety. Her being a makeup artist, her being a professional model, these are statements that Emily has made on other accounts. But that's the thing, if these are statements that Emily has made on other accounts, and Emily is saying that this person is a cyberstalker, then why would Shannon just automatically assume that this couldn't be a cyberstalker? She's saying, oh, this couldn't be a cyberstalker because they talk about some of the same stuff that Emily talked about on other public accounts. That's a contradiction, because if Emily had been talking about this on other public accounts, then it's like, but even then, but like I'm saying, even if this actually were just owned by Emily and she was just saying the same shit that she was saying on other accounts, that wouldn't be proving anything else. It would just be more of the same shit. where Emily has already addressed it. She kind of used to be a shitty person. She kind of used to think a lot of shitty things. It's more of the same irrelevant nonsense. And it doesn't even have the evidence that Shannon claims it did. I read every single one of these screenshots. Nowhere does it say anything about sobriety in any
Shout
of
out
these.
to One Piece. Shout out to my favorite rapper, One Piece.
Can I get
Love
this?
Zoro.
Can I get this message right here? Snacky Packy at Big Black Cock Fat Boobs. I want that on a t-shirt. Do you see that? Do you see that?
What?
I want that on a t-shirt right here. This
No
screenshot
shot. That's
right
what
here.
it is. What the
Look.
fuck?
I want that on a. I want that on a t-shirt.
My God, bro.
At big B1G underscore BL4CK
God.
underscore C0CK
I
fat
swear to
boobs
God.
with one upvote and one downvote.
I swear to God, Twitter.
I'm gonna make this an inspirational quote.
Wait, is that even Twitter or is that fucking
No, this
Reddit?
is like
'Cause
nine.
see,
I think it's
upvote,
9gag.
downvote.
I think it's 9gag is what.
Oh,
it
it's
is.
9gag? Okay, never mind. It's definitely 9gag then. Yeah. Okay. I'm not surprised anymore. I'm not ashamed or surprised. That's literally just expected, to be honest, actually.
Okay.
I was about to shame Twitter for being like bad and everything, cause like I still believe like Twitter should at least be held to a decently high standard. But then you said it was 9gag, and I'm like, okay, well, like
You expect
standards
Twitter to
were
be.
never a
You
thing
really
that we could've
expect
expected
Twitter to
from
be held to a
9gag.
high standard? I think that's on you, buddy.
Not a high standard, just a normal standard. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Like
telling you.
I just want people on Twitter to be fucking normal. Okay. I just want people to be normal on Twitter, and just like, you know, that's all I want. But like, that's why I'm hard on them. Okay, because they never are.
Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you, Emily, all Shannon has done
the moment
here
you said
is...
9gag, it was like, okay, well, yeah, that is a lost cause. There's no point in even hoping that they can do better.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And listen, I'm telling you, Emily, all Shannon has done here is compiled some genius merchandise idea for you in this document.
Yeah.
Yes. According to Emily, this person was pretending to be here, but being mean to others in order to troll her. However, why would this person go through the... I don't know, Shannon, why would somebody go through the effort of having a fucking lolcow to talk shit about herself anonymously?
Listen, guys, I can dream. I can dream about people being normal on Twitter. I know it's a big ask, but holy fuck, I can dream. I don't need them to be good. I need them to be normal. That's as low as I want to go.
Emily stated that... Okay, so this is just... I've already talked about that. Okay. Right. Emily stated that her hair was split-dyed black and orange for the majority of 2015... and that when I split dyed my hair in 2020, it was a direct reference to her. My hair most of 2015 was half black, half orange, cut, choppy, and short. I had totally forgotten about this until a friend said something. It made me shiver unless the pictures of Shannon is flipped. The colors are on the same side too. However, she never dyed her hair orange. In 2015, she bleached half of her hair, trying to go from black to blonde. Her hair ended up turning a brassy orange because she didn't use a toner, as seen in these pictures. And then here's one from, like, March of 2015 that says, yeah, I'm going half blonde, and it looks more blonde there. And then it says, nasty hair, never again, and you can see it kind of turning brassy. This is the one where it looks, like, really orange. And then in April, she says that her hair was blue then. And the only thing that I commented was, like, yeah, it seems like Emily got, like, exactly how long her hair was this color incorrect. I honestly don't know that Shannon was actually trying to, like, literally be Emily with, like, the split hair thing. Is it possible? Maybe, but that's, like, pure speculation realm, you know? Yeah, you wanted to go half blonde so that you could dye your hair colors. I think that falls in, like, speculation, and this is kind of what I was saying here, where it was like, and Emily, I'm going to criticize you slightly, even though I want you to know that I think that this is very mild criticism, but I think
Look at the extent they have to go to mimic even a fraction of our normalcy.
I think that all of these drawings of Shannon that, like, kind of vaguely look like you, I don't think that's her actually trying to copy you. I think it's just her drawing various people. Like, she said herself that one of them was a picture of her friend. One of them was like a dark-skinned woman. I think that she's probably right about like this one particular thing where she was just drawing women in general. But again, this is also kind of like a non-point because this is all just pure speculation anyway. Emily's not making any actual accusations here. She's just like speculating because Shannon's kind of proven herself to be a psycho crazy bitch. So like, what do we expect? It's speculation, which is fine, but Shannon's not actually making accusations here. It's just kind of a non-issue. Emily also stated she was a signed working model who did this full time. This, like her stating she was a makeup artist, is also a lie. Emily has had professional photos taken for her music and whatnot. What does it matter if she was actually a signed model or not? She said she was a signed model. She's clearly taken in a room by her. These are some really cool fucking images, though, actually. I guess these were taken for Emily's music career. What does this have to do with anything? Like, so she had some professional modeling photos taken for music. That means that she's lying about being a model? Or maybe she wanted to be a model? That she was a signed model here working full-time? Shannon's argument's irrelevant? Yeah, pretty much. No, yeah, Emily, it's like, I completely understand that emotions were, like, totally heightened. And that's kind of something that we had to talk through with, like, Peaches as well. Is that when all of this stuff started coming out, her emotions also were, like, really heightened. And it's like, yeah, you know, you maybe start to see things that aren't necessarily fully fair. And that's fine, as long as, you know, it's fine. Like, that happens. I'm not trying to, like, knock you for it. I just think that she has kind of a point in saying, like, yeah, her art was probably just her art. I don't think everything that she ever did was, like, secretly a coded message. I do still think that she had, like, a weird obsession with you. But that doesn't mean literally everything she ever did was a coded message. Emily states that she is a signed model here and is working full-time in 2015. When she would have been working at a beauty supply shop, there is no proof that she's ever modeled for anything besides her own music. And no profiles exist of her on the site Model Mayhem. Is this, like, the definitive site for modeling? Like, if you're not on Model Mayhem, you're not a model? Like, I don't understand. Hang on, I'm gonna, like, look something up really quickly. Oh my god, why was it not letting me type? Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Like, is Model Mayhem just, like... Yeah, I was about to say, that's another thing. You can also, like, model privately without literally being on, like, a website or whatever. And what I was trying to look up on Model Mayhem is that my sister is a model. Like, she actually has done modeling and stuff in fashion shows. She doesn't have a site on Model Mayhem. Like, it's not the definitive site for modeling. So this is also just, like, a stupid argument. Like, oh, no profile exists on this one modeling website, so that means Emily didn't actually model. It's just a stupid argument. Emily states Anthony only dated me, or is attracted to me because I'm goth, like she is. This is untrue, partially because when they dated...
So apparently Emily did have an account, though.
Oh, did she? I didn't see...
Or at least that's what I'm...
I mean, even if...
reading.
Yeah, but even then, even if she did have an account on Model Mayhem, it's like, that still doesn't prove what Shannon is saying it proved. Like, it's just like... yeah, she could have just missed it. Like, if you literally had a site on Model Mayhem as well, it's like, then she's just not even being truthful. I searched everywhere for it.
I couldn't find it. Therefore, it didn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Emily states Anthony only dated me or was attracted to me because I am goth, like she is. That's untrue, partially because when they dated, she looked like this and wasn't at all goth. So she found 3 random photos of Emily.
It's because when she was looking for Emily, she was rusty. She was rusty on it, you know?
Yeah, so in these 3 particular photos, Emily doesn't look super goth, guys. So that means that Emily never had a goth aesthetic at all. Even though earlier this was a photo that was being posted by Shannon of Emily. And when was this taken? Oh, it doesn't have a date on it.
Also, I have to ask the question again. What
What does this prove? Yeah, like what point does this have?
Towards helping Creepshow's case or
And then she's saying,
doing anything in regards to Emily. What does it? What point does it serve? Is like, what is Creepshow trying to prove by going into this diatribe?
Yeah, she's like,
about...
I'm a white woman who wanted to look like Zooey Deschanel. I'm pale with freckles and blue eyes. She's saying she's a white passing Latina woman with olive skin, dark hair, dark eyes. We look nothing alike. Our style isn't similar. This doesn't have anything to do with anything. Emily also interacted with plenty of people I knew in a friendly setting, further solidifying what I said about how our social circles are not solely connected to Anthony. Here's Emily leaving a comment on a DeviantArt profile for 2010 of a family friend. Before I knew Anthony, this is a person I went to school with for multiple years and was a family friend. Like, okay, so she has a random screenshot and she's saying that she knows this person, but we don't see any proof that she actually knows this person outside of Shannon saying she knows that person. There's no proof that she actually
Emily wasn't a real goth. Yeah. Get her.
Not a real goth.
Hound her now.
Did you see those fucking DeviantArt posts from earlier? She was definitely an edgy goth. Are you kidding me? Like, look at that. She had
she was a scene kid at best.
Yeah, she was a scene kid.
She was a scene kid at best. She
stated she doesn't respond to DMs anymore because she is, quote, so scared of harassment, has PTSD, and has been terrified since 2016. However, in her answering your questions video from 2018, Emily states that she spends a good amount of time interacting with fans in the DMs and usually only talks to them in her DMs. This video post states anything Emily cited she was harassed, making her statements of her closing her DMs because of Anthony or myself false. I don't know, did Emily even say in her video that she doesn't respond to DMs anymore? Or did she say that she doesn't respond to, like, random unverified accounts that are, like, brand new? I feel like that might be what Emily has said. Because I also don't really answer DMs from, like, brand new accounts, because it's always a possibility that it's just, like, some weirdo that you blocked on some other site or whatever.
Yeah, that's why guys,
we've already proven Shannon has, like, stretched Emily's words.
That's why you gotta make the accounts ahead of time, just in case. Okay?
I personally have 50 alts.
9 other accounts that were made on the same day that you made the first account, okay? That way you can stalk and harass anybody without them even knowing. Without them even thinking it was you.
This comment is so good. Eggy Coons.
Fellas, boys, girls, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
Okay? Just...
Eggy Coon said Shannon be digging up the Dead Sea Scrolls as evidence. Oh my god. Emily then says
sacred text.
Emily then says a storytime video I made has proof I stalked her. The video is about how someone stole my design and got it tattooed on them. I don't think Emily ever said that this was proof that you stalked her. You say in the story time that you were, quote, a great stalker because you can find anything on anyone. You've clearly proved that with this document, Shannon. The video was taken down in March... Sorry, I just burped again. The video was taken down on March 19th, 2021, months before Emily's video. I know that because I made a video addressing it. This is also, like, completely irrelevant. Emily never says, oh yeah, Shannon saying she's a good stalker is proof that I stalked her. She's just saying that Shannon has bragged before about how good she is at digging up information, and she just proved it with this fucking document. Okay, what is this? Part 16, technically. Jim Campbell. Jim Campbell is Creepshow's sibling that Creepshow doxed on Lolcal, allegedly, and is what led to the Lolcal admins actually, like, revoking her anonymity and proving that it was actually Creepshow posting all of this. We'll come back to this because I think she talks about this in a minute. First, my sibling, Jim Campbell. Oh, here she actually correctly genders her sibling. The person who in their freshman year of Gonzaga University shit in a mug, walked across campus and smeared said shit on the door of her girlfriend's friend dorms because they didn't seem to like her. What a
What
sentence
the fuck?
to
That
start
is
off
some
with.
monkey shit. What the
What?
fuck?
I guess
Holy
she's saying
shit.
that her
That is
sibling
just
did this.
that is just an interaction that reminds me that humans are apes. Like,
Yeah.
What the fuck?
The person who was hired by disabled activist Evan Sweeney got fired for unprofessional behavior, then got so mad that they hacked their account to read what Evan thought about them and deleted their work in revenge. The person who purposely broke our parents' laptop by pouring water on it because they gave them a curfew when they moved back home from college. You know how there are computer problems with the laptop? Mom and Dad's laptop, that is. Yeah, they're gonna blame me. I poured a little bit of water on it in an act of retaliation. What? So, Shannon's proving that her sibling has acted like a rebellious teenager shithead before? Is that the point? Is that the point of this?
So Shannon is saying that her brother shit in a mug and then fucking...
I don't think it's her brother. I think it's just sibling. I think they go by they, them.
No, it says first... Oh, well, they, them. What? It says they shit in a mug and smeared it on a door.
Oh, this one says her, so that might be a misgendering on Shannon's part, but... I think they are AFAB, but they go by they, them.
Girlfriend's friend's dorm because they didn't seem to like her?
You feel like there would be some evidence of, like, all of this, given this might be a public... I don't know.
Okay, so, like, the way this is written is very fucking weird, because I can't tell who the person who shat in the mug is. I just want to know who acted like a fucking ape, okay? I just want to understand who's
also.
Who's
do you guys?
throwing their feces.
This is like literally
so hard.
This is like literally a textbook case of character assassination before she even goes into trying to debunk any point that she makes. Like none of this shit is relevant at all to anything that happens between them and Shannon. It's like literally textbook character assassination. I came back who shat in the mug. Apparently, Shannon's sibling shit in a mug. According to Shannon.
And the way it like...
Can we get that opening sentence on a t-shirt? Oh, I do. I want it on a mug.
It says, okay, so it starts saying, first, my sibling, Jem Campbell, the person, so I assume they're still talking about Jem Campbell, who in their freshman year of university, shat in a mug, walked across campus and did all that shit, and on the door of her girlfriend's friend's dorm because they didn't seem to like her. Okay, so that's what reads extremely weird. So I'm assuming the sibling is her going to her girlfriend.
Her girlfriend, their girlfriend's friend.
The friend of their girlfriend.
Yes.
To the dorm door. So gay relationship, all right? Inclusive, let's go. All right. And
gay rights, everybody.
Went to the friend's dorm and smeared feces on their door. Okay. So again, I guess this is just to remove them as a credible narrator.
Yeah, that's all it's
something?
trying to do. It's just trying to debunk credibility before she even tries to talk about what the actual claims against Shannon are. That's all it's trying to do.
It's just some nasty details that I don't know why she needed to bring up.
I'm gonna stay awake at night thinking about this first sentence right here.
Mally.
Why does Guns... Is Mally here?
Well, welcome to Debunking Creepshow Extra Monkey Edition.
Yeah. Also, what is Gonzaga? That sounds like a fucking Muppet, doesn't it? Like Gonzo, but Gonzaga? That's like his Hispanic cousin? Sorry. Elmo actually has a Hispanic
Nani's
cousin.
in here too. What
oh my
up?
god, hello Nani. Everybody's here. It's a party. I don't know why everyone's
Bro, it's like
here.
Smash Ultimate. Everyone's here.
Scrittus and I have literally just been like rambling about monkeys and making jokes about Creepshow Art being like a roach that scatters when the light turns on. That's like...
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday,
We
yeah.
said that yesterday
Yeah.
of like Emily like turning on the lights and then like Creepshow like skittering under the couch.
Back into the walls where she lives.
Yeah.
The pink walls that Shannon definitely knows way too many details
pink walls
about.
that she's lived and she definitely knows for a fact that they are pink.
Because she lived in them, guys. That's all she knows.
You can't tell me that those walls weren't pink. I lived in them for 2 years. Anyways.
So finally actually starts maybe talking about something that isn't just character assassination. We haven't been close since 2014 when I picked them up from a party and they drunkenly told me I was supposed to be the fuck up of the family and that they wish I'd killed myself in 7th grade and that they want nothing to do with me. The next morning they didn't remember it and they said they didn't mean it, but after that everything was okay. It's still character assassination stuff. They surfaced the moment my name was trending to not only state that I had stalked Emily. That's not why, though. It's because you doxed them on fucking lolcow, you absolute idiot. They surfaced the moment my name was trending to not only state that I had stalked Emily and they had witnessed, but also to state that I had stalked and abused them as... Wait, what? I need to reread that. Not only to state that I stalked Emily and they had witnessed it, but also to state that I had stalked and abused them as well. Okay, so them being Jim as well. That I spent years following their online presence and sending harassment towards them. Well, I mean, clearly you were doing something because you posted their docs on fucking lolcow, Shannon. That I have abused them for years and years. And much like Emily,
Honestly,
they had
like
no evidence. Because that quite sincerely didn't happen. Once again, Shannon says it doesn't happen, so it didn't happen.
Yeah, I feel like, once again... This whole video and this entire document probably would have gone over at least a little bit better if Shannon had like a proofreader or something to like, you know, say like, what are you talking about before she posted? Because this is what it feels like. It feels like she didn't have anybody else look over this this script and was kind of just doing it all on her own and compiled this massive document.
I like the idea that an actual certified lawyer looked over all of this and approved it, because that would really be something.
Imagine being Shannon's lawyer and having to compile a statement for her.
Oh my god! Shannon's lawyer, of course, just being Shannon in a different colored wig, and changing the font to Times New Roman, of course.
Shannon NFTs coming out soon.
Oh my god, yeah. Different colored split hair.
Different
and
outfits.
much like Emily, they had no evidence because they admitted to this in 2018 that this never happened and was projection on their part, but they saw their chance and they took it. Jim would accuse me of stalking them for simply following their Tumblr, Instagram, or any public platform and reading their posts. Mind you, we mutually followed each other on pretty much every platform. She was aware that they were aware that I was following them, and I never used the false accounts to see their post. I never sent them anything less than support, and they were always aware that I followed them. However, if they posted something that they, for whatever reason, didn't want me to see, it was my fault if it came up on my dashboard. When they came out via Tumblr as a lesbian, I liked the post. They got mad at me because I took their moment away, and they wanted to tell me in person. When I commented on the post, they wrote about me, talking about how they hate me. I was invading their space and privacy. Despite them talking about me publicly, I wasn't allowed to know. So this is just more anecdotal stuff of, like, shit Shannon is saying her sibling did, which is also utterly irrelevant to fucking Emily. I think she's kind of given up on Emily, maybe, at this point. I don't even know. In 2006, this also does, even if all of this were fucking true, that wouldn't excuse fucking doxing the sibling on lolcow. I guess the only reason she's bringing this up in reference to Emily...
That's why they're talking. I forgot the reason she was talking about her sibling.
Because she says that the sibling, like, said that Shannon was stalking Emily. So I'm guessing that's also why. But I guess we'll get to that.
So they're trying to remove the credibility of the sibling.
Yes.
by
Exactly.
establishing that they throw shit and are
They smear
a bad
shit on.
person.
Yeah, they.
They smear shit on doors and are a bad person, so therefore they were not correct on this. And it's like, well, I mean, we could use the same logic with Shannon.
All of this is just Shannon trying to like debunk the credibility of the sibling so that she can cast doubt on the idea that the sibling was an actual witness to the stalking.
Imagine not having any other arguing tactic than just destroying the credibility of people who oppose you.
Yeah,
Imagine being so like inept at arguing with people that that's the only thing you can ever do to like win an argument is to make sure that the person you're arguing with has no credibility.
Yeah, I don't know. And
Like
then
that is it's honestly kind of pathetic.
do I really
It's
want
like
to read all this?
you
I don't
know
know
like
what to do.
you're
There
like
might be some
winning
quotes here.
against nobodies or people who anybody would win against at that point, you know? It's,
Dancing cockroach in a clown costume.
As an Italian, I find this to be an insult to my national sport of arguing. So
I am done with you. Where the fuck do you get off literally bashing our parents because you feel they didn't do enough to make you feel good enough? Are you kidding me? You're gonna rant about this online like you have anything to stand on? You can't bullshit me, you fucking liar. Oh, you starved yourself and our parents didn't notice? Oh, fucking great. Me too. To the point where I can't have kids, in fact. But let's break down our shitty little oppression points, shall we? Because I guess who doesn't blame our parents for that? Me. Because I chose to starve myself because I wasn't happy. I thought being thin would make me happy, and if our parents had known that, they would have stopped it. Oh wait, there's more. I also attempted suicide twice while under their roof because I was upset at the bullying that was happening at school and at home, but our parents didn't know. Huh, I wonder why. I think it's because mom was dealing with her MS, working at Campbell Precision, helping her dad with Alzheimer's, working at SFC, and trying to make sure they were okay because dad was working about 3 different jobs to keep their family afloat. I don't blame them for that. They were doing their best. So I guess this is just the sibling, like, telling Shannon to stop bitching. And it's like, you chose to stop going to therapy because you... I don't know that any of this is relevant outside of the sibling clearly
Mally
having...
bringing up a good point, which I think we addressed earlier, of, like, dragging out... also want to drag out the usual complaint of people claiming they always knew she was bad in hindsight. As someone who wholeheartedly believed in her, there's no shame in admitting that.
Yeah. Like, I used to
already
think
called
Creepshow
out
was
the entire audience. My ass was, like, sitting there reading the comments of the video that was calling me and Spy out, like, nah, or even Peaches out and shit. Like, people were way, like, literally a year ago today, public opinion was 100% on Shannon's side,
This is true.
but she was the exact same person and argued in the exact same way as she always did. Nothing has changed about Creepshow, and that's the problem. I think it's just more people are now understanding that that's bad and why it's bad and why, like, this is just, like...
Oh, this was from
you know,
Shannon? Oh, this is
No,
the
no,
message
no,
I
I'm-
sent.
I'm just talking
Sorry,
about,
I just saw a message in
Mally's
chat.
comment.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
But,
Yeah.
okay, so...
But I already called out the audience for being
Yeah,
sussy bakas like that.
I used to be a fan of Shannon, and I at the time, I feel like she didn't talk about as many heavier topics up until I stopped following Shannon after she made that video talking about the accusing the Twitter artist of distributing CP, even though she herself was doing the thing that she was accusing others of. Yeah. So that's when I stopped following Shannon, and that's when I started to really realize how she was bad at arguing, but it doesn't really matter. She's always argued like that.
Superior human being, as a superior human being, saw right through it day one, and was never on their side.
Okay, in 2016, after my sister posted that my nephew was better off without his father, I wrote them a long message essentially telling them I was done with them. That they had gone too far and what they said was disgusting. This is the message I sent to them. Okay, so this was Shannon's message to the sibling. I like how Shannon in this message is saying, like, let's not play oppression points, and then she's like, I starve myself to the point that I can't even have kids. But let's break down our shitty little oppression points. Like,
let's not play oppression points because I would win.
Yeah, let's not play oppression points because I would fucking win. Okay, I've already won.
I would win, and you would get destroyed.
You would get destroyed.
I would double your oppression points.
I would absolutely RKO your fucking oppression points. I would win the fucking oppression points game. So don't even bring it up for your own sake. Because I win.
Hypothetically, that we did an oppression points game.
Oh my god. I just want to read the end. You have officially lost another sibling. I thought this said because you're queer at first, but it says not because you're queer. I was about to be like, fucking what? You have officially lost another sibling because you're queer. Not because you're edgy and alternative, and not because of your political beliefs, but because I refuse to be an enabler to your need to be the number one victim and to make our family seem like the worst place ever. Congratulations, you fucked yourself out of having a sister. Okay, and then in 2018, I reached out to them telling them exactly how I felt about the things they said and done. Things like saying I abused them publicly, posting that my husband is abusive on Twitter for simply breaking up with me for a day, sexually harassing my straight female friends to date me until they felt too uncomfortable to be in the same room as me, and saying things like they wish I was dead. Oh my god. Okay. And let's just... Your internet
stream length scares me. Well, I mean, we did a previous stream yesterday that was about this long, so we actually got through more of it today than we did yesterday, but I think it's because it's like it's so top heavy.
It is pretty top heavy, yeah.
Yeah, because like all the parts are not equal, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So then she just
sent
like
this... very powerful mother energy. Made you feel like she was 1000% in your corner. So it's no surprise she made so many friends in the community. I just wish it had been true. To me, Shannon always came off as like the person who was literally like giving you this affection as a transaction. I don't know if that's maybe because like I got in late-ish, like before, like I saw Shannon's actions, or I was first introduced to Shannon through like the Toby drama / Hopeless Peaches drama, and she never struck me as that. She struck me as somebody who pretended to be that for the sake of getting like brownie points with people, but like it really seemed like she would, like, just because you do good things for people doesn't mean you're allowed to do shitty things to other people, you know?
Yeah. For me, Shannon always gave off like wine ant energy, like just says her mind. She takes a puff of the pipe and passes it around. Yeah, like the wine mom energy. Which in some ways was kind of comforting, because she was also very... If you watch Shannon, she was always very, like, encouraging to her audience. And I know it was obviously very parasocial, but it was still, like... It felt good sometimes to just have someone say that, you know, you can do it and I believe in you. And I'm a shitty person and I have all sorts of issues and I'm still doing it. So you can too. That sort of vibe from Shannon. Until I realized that she was a big liar. But that's kind of like, what the appeal was.
The appeal to her for some people was like that degenerate with a heart of gold kind of deal.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But to me, it never really came off like that. But I can see what people might have thought. But maybe that's just for me, like the different perspective I had. Because like the introduction I basically had was her literally just fucking lying about things that I knew to be false, you know? So it's...
I feel like her older content wasn't as, like, drama heavy. Like, obviously she would talk about, like, popular topics going on, but there wasn't a whole lot of her, like, exposing other people's actions or accusing them of stuff, so much as her just talking about the information that was already out there.
When the audience starts gassing you up and making you feel like you're the next thing since Jesus Christ... to like grace these ears with your facts and logic, then yeah, you're gonna start putting a little less effort into your arguments and also just like being more dramatic and like polarizing and just saying every hot take that you might have otherwise kept to yourself because you think like, oh yeah, people are gonna love this, people are gonna fucking love this, and then you kind of get used to that of people just constantly just choking down your dick, and like, I guess like once you get used to that, and then it gets taken away from you, you don't know how to like how to act after it, because then you keep trying to act like you always did, and then you don't realize that like people only really originally liked you because you were humble in a way, I guess. If that makes any sense. Not sure if it did or not.
Yeah, no, I think I get what you're saying, and I think you're right. Essentially, it's like she was always like that, but to me at least, it just became more obvious like as time went on, and she just had a lot of people under her thumb essentially because she successfully exuded like that figure of authority, that she was someone you could trust and that sort of deal. But yeah, that's like the puppet master, the fucking how much of it she was literally doing conscious and how much she wasn't, I guess we can't know for sure, but she definitely had some sort of manipulative nature going on.
Genuinely, my headcanon is that Shannon was the puppet master behind the Hopeless Peaches drama.
I wouldn't be shocked at all. She like because that's one thing that Kai
I feel
kind
like
of
Luke was a little too.
Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that Kai kind of accidentally revealed, is that Shannon was in a group chat with Kai and Omnia and Luke. Before the Peaches drama went out.
Talking about that shit too. They were talking about that drama as well, and it's like
that, or I wouldn't be shocked if Shannon.
And it was also like in Luke's fucking video, you see a screenshot from Creepshow on Twitter taken like 14 minutes or something after it was posted or some shit. It's like, that was a very quick screenshot, like you knew it was gonna come.
Yeah, and then it was also, I wouldn't be shocked if Shannon kind of like gassed Luke up, like, oh yeah, you'll 100% have my support, like with this video and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, I wouldn't be shocked at all if that sort of thing happened. But
yeah, and let's be clear here, people do that for non-nefarious reasons too, just because they want to coordinate, their video and make sure it gets as much of an audience as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're like coming out with accusations and everything to the point that it doesn't allow somebody to really like say anything in their defense because you've riled up everybody on an emotional level to just basically start coming in and harassing the person the moment they try to respond, that's like, it's kind of scummy.
Yeah.
Which is why in our videos we always try to pull back a little bit and be like, all right, let's temper it a little bit, guys. We're gonna hold them accountable, but like if they have something to say for themselves, let's at least hear them out.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the onus that we follow at least, but not everybody does. I think communities would be better if we did, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Shannon's just a fucking mess, and she's only proving it in this goddamn document. And it's like, so she sent this long... Also, someone asked, this, like, big-ass rant was from Shannon to the sibling. Not from the sibling to Shannon, like I thought it was at first. So Shannon sent this to the sibling. And then at some point came back and, like, left this big message about all of the stuff that she says the sibling did to her. And then she says that my sister responded with this, admitting to doing that and stating that they were sorry. They regretted stating that I abused them. They regretted their position about me on social media and spreading lies and more. When Dad told me about Paige this morning, I don't know who Paige is, my mind did go to you, wondering how you were doing with that loss. It's incredible to lose loved ones, especially so young in life, and I'm so sorry for this pain. I appreciate you reaching out and understanding that this is not a portal for a relationship again, understanding this pain I've inflicted. I am overwhelmed with regret over the way I handled our relationship back in our more recent years, especially the biphobia, pushing of a non-consensual relationship, the claims of abuse, and the indirect communication. I was wrong in all of it, projecting so much of my own ish onto you, and I had no understanding of the impact it had on you. I'm humbled again and again by the impact my life has had on yours, both of consequence of my own actions, but also of just my existence. For the pain I've caused you, that you voiced, and for perhaps myriads of other things that are not said, I'm deeply, deeply sorry. In 2019, my sister and I started talking, so I guess this was her at least admitting that there was, like, biphobia involved, and then claims of abuse, I guess, on, in terms of, Shannon abusing them. I guess is what she's admitting to not being here, at least. Not being correct. This was also in 2018, so I guess stuff could have happened between 2018 and 2021, but I don't really know. And then in 2019, my sister and I started talking a bit more. I reached out to them when they were asking for help with rent, and I felt that they were on a better path. However, after months of genuinely friendly conversation, they blocked me and posted on Twitter that I was a toxic, abusive person. Here are the last messages we sent to each other. And then it's just, like, her asking how they're doing, and then she asked... She wanted to send something to the sibling, I guess. And then this happened, and suddenly they're stating that I am the most abusive person in their life. Again, don't worry, they didn't just do this publicly. They also sent me death threats, made fun of the fact that I can't have children, and talked about how much better my nephew would be without me, so I should kill myself. They sent me these emails from a spam account, however, when they spoke about the protest in Portland in 2016, I knew it was Jim. They had word for word said this to me before. Oh, so this is from a spam account that she's saying is from the sister. I guess she's saying that this particular statement is something her sister had said to her before, but I thought that... Oh, from 2016, so I guess that was something that the sibling had said before. I also don't really know what this has to do with Emily. Some people on Reddit have speculated you lied to Emily by claiming to have miscarried because you're a psychotic bitch who can't physically feel human emotion. So I'm just going at this the game and outside the clinic route to show you some medical waste for a shock reaction. Just remember you deserve infertility if you aren't lying about it, and if you have ever miscarried, you deserve the bloodiest, agonizing, most traumatic miscarriage possible. Just remember this will all end if you just kill yourself. It's been a long time coming and your time is up. I obviously don't condone any of these sentiments at all being said towards Shannon. I just don't quite understand what this has to do with the fact at hand, other than saying that her sibling clearly seems to have some sort of a vendetta. So I guess the only thing that could be said is that the sibling might not have been a reliable narrator in stating that they witnessed the abuse towards Emily, but that does not disprove the stalking and the harassment towards Emily. You know what I mean? Like, just because the sister maybe didn't actually witness it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Like, that's not how that works. It's kind of largely irrelevant outside of maybe one witness statement should be considered contentious. Not even false, just contentious. Yeah, this is all, like, clearly deeply personal and not internet business. Shannon kind of has a thing, too, where she really likes to try to garner sympathy for herself. Since Shannon has brought this up herself, the infertility is what you had censored in the past receipts. Yeah. So it's like, this is all very sad, and I'm very sorry that she has this terrible relationship with her sibling, and that her sibling would allegedly say this stuff to her. I also don't think that any of this is very relevant to the issue at hand. Like, if she wanted to try to paint the idea that her sibling was a terrible person and therefore her claims that she witnessed the harassment that Shannon did towards Emily should be contested, she didn't have to do all of this and say all of this to make that point.
Don't worry, I'm alive.
And Emily said, I've spoken to Jim and
listening and reading chat.
Yeah, Emily says that they've spoken to Jim and they fully acknowledged their past abuse. Their parents put them through a lot and they lashed out because of it. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. It clearly sounds like there was some weird shit going on, like, in the house, especially, like, here when this is the message that Shannon sent to the sibling. But that's also not... That shouldn't really be the internet's business, though. I know that Shannon has now kind of made it the internet's business, but I feel like none of that should really be our business, frankly.
I mean, that's kind of par for the course.
I know it's kind of par for the course for Shannon, but
it shouldn't have been the internet's business, but now it is.
Now it is.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, wasn't it like we had issues with them releasing DMs and stuff, or like private DMs?
Yeah, it also doesn't justify doxing. That's what someone else said. Yeah, that's true. This doesn't justify doxing as well on locale.
Yeah.
So I guess this is where Shannon is talking directly to the sibling. I'm done with you. I'm done paying your medical bills. I'm done helping you every fucking time you reach out begging for support. I'm done being your shoulder to cry on when you get evicted or something goes wrong because you immediately go on Twitter and brag about how stupid I am for trusting you. I am fucking stupid, but I love myself enough to know that you don't deserve shit from me. Okay. That, like, I think we've already kind of covered why this was largely not super relevant. And let's just see what she has to say here about Kevin. And Kevin uses they them pronouns, by the way, as well.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Boy, that was kind of intense, wasn't it, friends?
My brain is just... my brain is just SpongeBob and Invincible memes at this point.
Honestly. The second person...
It's all it's been reduced to.
Yeah, the second person that came against me is Kevin Adam Coulter. I talked about them and what they said a little bit on one of my older streams about Creepshow, so I kind of remember them and what they were talking about. Who is someone I was friends with years ago. He goes by the moniker Coultergeist on social media, and you might know him as the guy who said talking to me was too triggering, and then immediately went to making memes out of my cancellation. Well, that's based, personally, I think, making memes out of the Creepshow cancellation. That's 100% valid. Kevin, is a person who I tried to contact last year for some closure. He manipulated me, he assaulted me, and he went out of his way to convince me that people in my life hated me. He tried to break up 2 relationships I was in, and he knew how to manipulate me like no one else. He would call me, telling me he was depressed, begging me to come over, and then when I got there, call me and tell me he left to hang out with other people. When we smoked hookah, he would ash the coal off on me because he said I made a funny noise when I got burned. And when my brother died, he told me I was too sad to hang out with him. This is a kind of the same thing, where it's just, like, character assassination before trying to even, like, debunk anything that they said. Kevin, like anyone else, just said a bunch of things. Kevin, like everyone else, just said a bunch of things. Isn't that ironic?
I mean...
With no evidence, even more ironic. It doesn't make sense for him to Yeah, go ahead.
I will state my position on, like, making memes about somebody who just got canceled is, like, I always kind of feel bad about it, you know, like I will never make memes about somebody being canceled or because to me it always feels like, you know, dancing on the grave or kicking or beating a dead horse in a way. I can understand why people do it. I also understand why other people, you know, like, that some people can be more deserving of it than others. But for me personally, I'm always like, it always just feels a little like too much to make like very cruel jokes at somebody's expense who's already getting shit on.
That's true. I don't know. I guess I don't really know the natures of the memes that Kevin was. Because I meme about Creepshow. I guess I just don't know exactly the nature of what kind of...
I mean, we've been joking about Creepshow this entire time, too. So, like...
So I guess it's, like, defined
cockroach who, like, skitters under shit. So it's also, like, you know... It's not like we are holier than thou or that you shouldn't joke about somebody who is currently being canceled. But, I don't know. I guess, like, just very mean-spirited memes. But even that's subjective, so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't know the nature of the memes he made, so I can't comment too much on them. Kevin, like everyone else, okay, just said... Whoops. It also doesn't make sense for him to have witnessed anything, given we weren't friends when the majority of the harassment took place, according to Emily. I don't know if Kevin himself actually did anything to Emily, but I know he did to his ex-girlfriends. Kevin would hack his ex-girlfriend's Facebook pages in order to see who they were talking to. He'd go on, this is all misgendering as well, they'd go onto their YouTube pages to see what they were doing, and they would generally fuck with them on their pages. They did this to me a couple times, sending people messages from my account just to fuck with my friendships, and he blocked people on my account who he didn't want me to talk to. Here is him doing it to me on his other friend's account. Hey Shannon, it's Kevin. And then Bearcat wants us to hang, and then it's all of us. He's talking from Ryan's account, I guess. And this is why every person in my life hated them and was stoked for me to not be friends with him. This is why when Kevin said in his last message to me that he got pretty cyberstalky before, I didn't have a huge reaction because he had with his exes, and I thought he changed, but alas. Well, I don't know. I trust some people too easily, even though that's a fault. I just don't want to experience another Kevin situation. I mean, that's a very vague message. This is all mostly just anecdotal stuff. Like, she doesn't actually provide much screenshots to show this, other than like this one showing that Kevin is messaging from someone's account whose name is Ryan. Like, this, again, I don't see what this is really relevant to do with Emily at all, other than Kevin was somebody who came out in support of Emily against Shannon. Like, I just don't know why this is relevant. It's certainly a sad anecdote, if we just assume that all of this is true at face value. But I just don't see how that's really all that relevant.
It just comes back to the classic problem of Creepshow attacks the person and not the argument, right? She never attacks the evidence. She never calls into question the evidence. She calls into question the person.
Yeah, it's never the evidence, it's always the person giving the evidence.
Because the evidence, like, I guess either Creepshow doesn't realize she's doing that, or she can't beat the evidence. Like, she can't call it into question, because it's like, either the person giving the evidence has to be a bad person, and therefore the evidence is bad, which is a fallacy, or the evidence is good, and literally, like, that's the only way she can get people on her side is by making it so people calling to question the person rather than taking the evidence at face value.
Yeah, and like someone else in chat said, like, none of this has had anything to do with actually debunking claims. It's all just kind of like, oh, these people are actually bad, and it's like, okay, maybe.
Let's assume, right, that everything Creepshow has said in this entire, like, 90-page fucking document is 100% true and factual, and that everybody that Creepshow has talked about here is a terrible person. How does that in any way mean that Creepshow is no longer a terrible person? It doesn't. Because nothing Shannon has ever said here has gone into saying that, you know, like, it has gone into debunking or disproving any claims about her, or putting to rest anything that might indict her as a bad person. She is still a bad person, even if we give the most charitable interpretation of everything they've had here and assume that, like, Emily and like everybody who's come out against Creepshow are just terrible human beings who have a vendetta against Creepshow. Like, okay. But if the evidence is still solid, it doesn't matter if they have a vendetta against you or not. The evidence is solid, and it's true. So, like, okay, now you're both down here. That's, like, the best case scenario for Creepshow right now. Yeah, both of you are now bad people, and both of you are getting shit on. Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing that they can do here.
And it's like, I understand the idea of like, sometimes people, like, even Shannon herself is not, like, a reliable source of information. So I understand the part of, like, trying to prove that the people in the past, like, the people against you, like, in the past have allegedly lied. But she's not even really doing that with the sibling and with, well, kind of the sibling because of this message, but she's not doing that at all with Kevin. And even then, that still doesn't debunk specific claims. It just says we have to be suspicious of the claims because the person saying them maybe has a past of lying or being manipulative in some way. That's what I was saying with this whole thing. The whole reason I even did this live stream is because I would love to just dismiss anything that Shannon has to say. Because I find Shannon to be an incredibly unreliable source of information who has a history of stretching information to fit her own narrative. But I can't just do that and call myself good at, like, the job, quote unquote, of being someone who, like, investigates claims. That's the whole fucking point of doing these live streams, is to actually see, even though she is an unreliable person, if her claims hold any water. You can't just character attack the person. Like, imagine if I just spent this entire live stream not actually debunking anything Shannon actually said in this document and just talked about other times that Shannon was a shitty person. That would be stupid.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what Shannon is doing in these parts down here. And when she earlier was talking about shit that Emily did in her past. Like, if all I did was not address a single thing Shannon wrote in this 91 pages and just talked about other times Shannon was bad and therefore we can't trust anything in this document, you would all rightfully call me stupid. Because I would be stupid. I would be Creepshow, exactly. So it's like, you can't do that and expect people to, like, take you super seriously when it comes to actually defending yourself against claims.
Hey.
Cecil McFly mentioned something earlier about someone telling them that Shannon was trying to take Emily down with her. And now I wouldn't be shocked if that was kind of the mentality. That kind of seems like the mentality. Can't say for sure. She said it without seeing the screenshot of it, but I believe that, essentially.
Yes, we are the ones who single-handedly brought Peaches from the depths. We are the heroes.
Yeah, we're the heroes of our
We
own
did it all by
stories,
ourselves, too, by the way. So we know what we're talking about.
Okay, all of this is all, like, links and stuff, but this was her final statement.
Unsung hero, just stop, though. The real MVP of that situation. In that situation, literally the only fucking person who was like, wait a minute. And then Luke was like, no, you're bad. And then, like, and then he's like, wait, hey, what the fuck? That's how it happened. Just Stop was like, Luke, this is kind of sus. And he's like, I'm not sus, you're sus! And then the ball just got rolling from there. We are the dorky snakes. Yes, we are dorky snakes, in fact.
We are the dorky snakes.
We are extremely dorky snakes. Come slither with us. That's hello, my Slytherins. That's my new subscriber. That's my new name for my subscribers, my Slither boys.
But, oh my gosh. Okay, and then she has this final statement. And she just says, I am done. The video is over. I am not coming back to YouTube, thank God. I have learned that the only people I can count on in my life are the people who actually know me. And that if a random person says I stalked them with no evidence, people I genuinely admired would just go with it. That's not even what happened, though. You're just trying to paint a false narrative of what happened. Two people who I barely know anymore, who literally have years of statements saying that they hate me, came and co-signed this bullshit. Who? Who were the two people? I'm confused. Who were the two people? Is she trying to refer to Kevin and the sister? Or the sibling? Because they didn't co-sign anything. I don't know who the two people are. Unless she just didn't include their statements in this, and why would you not do that?
People who I barely know anymore, who literally have years of statements saying they hate me, came and co-signed this bullshit.
I don't know.
So I'm assuming she means Jem Campbell and Kevin Adam Coulter are the
guess so.
two people that she's referring to. Because those are the two people in the other parts that she mentioned. So I would assume that's what...
There's not even anything in these parts that say that they, like, co-sign what she's saying here. Okay, whatever. And then... Just
as a digression, why does the Slytherin house even exist in Harry Potter? It's literally just a house of white supremacists.
Just
like, why are they even a thing? They just don't deserve to be a house. Like, it's fucking, like, It's weird. They're literally just the evil house.
Yeah, it's...
The house of evil people.
I could talk for a while
I don't
about
understand.
Slytherin. Meanwhile, literally no one in my life...
Is it just, like, to put them in a box so, like, nobody else has to
J.K. Rowling
deal with
only
their
knows how
brain
to
rot?
put things... Oh, she made a comment about Repzion and Ashley Lee in her description. Maybe I thought both of those people came out against her, though. The two people that she's talking about are you, Spivey and Scrittus. She's talking about the...
Yeah, it's about us. We're important, guys. Yeah, the clout.
And then,
The more clout I get, the stronger I become.
And this is, meanwhile, literally no one in my life, not one friend that I am actually close to, came forward. And no one presented any evidence that holds up to even a little bit of speculation. That's just false. That's just utterly false and ironic. Which is why every lawyer, police officer, and PI took this to immediately say that she didn't have a case. Meanwhile, every lawyer I went to said that I did and was eager to pursue this. Well, yeah, if they're listening to only your bullshit version of the story, they're probably going to be like, oh yeah, sure, you have a case. Also, like, didn't you have, like, several... Shannon had, like, several friends reach out to her to try to talk to her? And then she just fucking, like, told them to, like, not defend her and to, like, not bother with her anymore and to just, like, go away. Like, she didn't let them help her. They tried to help her. I saw people sending her messages.
Yeah, I remember that. She was...
This is funny to me. Tipster said that if I was able to prove that I didn't actually stalk Emily, he would apologize. And to that I say, fuck you, you absolutely disgusting person. Now, Tipster, I guess with this, is technically asking her to prove a negative, which can't be done. So I guess that's kind of like, yeah, you can't really do that. But it's like, she really fucking hates Tipster, I guess. Why Tipster of all
my
people?
homies hate Tipster.
Yeah, and it says, you maliciously attacked my husband because you couldn't scroll down on Emily's Instagram to find the multiple posts that debunk her story. We've already established that this isn't even true. Also, according to Tipster, he only left, like, one comment basically asking her husband why he was, like, deleting shit. I have it right here. You want to know how I harassed her husband? By leaving this comment on his channel after he wiped and renamed it. So I guess he said, why did you delete all your videos and rename the channel? And then, oh yeah, and then I guess this is her DMs with Creepshow. I have been publicly critically of you and stand by what I say, but I'm still here if you need to talk. You want to come and talk to me after you commented on my husband's channel because of a provably false rape accusation. Really? You thought that was smart? And then that's when he said, okay, I see how this is going to be. Again, what's provably false about it? The only way that she could... Her only argument that the rape accusation is provably false is by saying that Emily couldn't have possibly been on heroin at the time the assault allegedly occurred. And we've already explained how Shannon's whole argument for that is weak as fucking bullshit. And he literally admitted in the lawyer letter that he did have some sort of sexual encounter with Emily after they broke up.
Yeah.
So it's like...
There's more evidence that it did happen than that...
Yeah, there's more evidence that it did happen than it didn't. I don't understand. Provably.
Well, I guess it could maybe be trying to prove a negative or something in this case, where it's like somebody says that
also, but did he even actually say
sexual assault happened and you can't really prove them wrong? But it's also like, well... They are giving their evidence, and the evidence seems to be fairly solid. It makes a decent amount of sense.
Also, nowhere in these DMs does he actually say, prove that you didn't stalk Emily. He says, checking in to see how you're doing. Are you okay? I'll be honest, your story doesn't make sense to me, and I don't buy it. However, it doesn't mean I still don't care about you, so I just want to make sure you're okay. Like, nothing in here is him saying, prove that you didn't stalk Emily, unless that was in a message that I'm not seeing. But but I'm not seeing any message like that, so she's once again just not even being honest about... Unless he said this on Twitter at some point? I don't know.
He says he's been publicly critical of them, but...
Yeah. And it says, there's a reason your content stays getting fewer views than everyone else in the YouTube commentary community. That's because it's terrible, lazy, reductive. You should rename your channel Secondhand News since you can't be fucked to actually research anything before opening your mouth.
Get 'em.
You aren't a reporter,
Speak
you're
on
a
it,
joke.
Queen.
Just know that you are a terrible person, truly. You're just as bad as Emily, if not worse, for supporting if not worse than supporting a mob with no evidence while stating to be a journalist. Shannon, sweetie, there is evidence. It's circumstantial evidence, but it is evidence, and your evidence debunking it doesn't debunk shit. And I don't know, why Tipster of all people? Why just Tipster is she, like, so singly mad at it? I don't understand. To the people who reached out and said, I don't care if you did it, I still love your content, you're fucking weird, that's not comforting. Okay? To the people who told me to kill myself, you almost got what you wanted, to everyone else go, oh yeah, we need to go touch some fucking grass. It's like, I don't want Shannon to harm herself, but I don't understand how she's... And I don't
touch this grass while I touch these pink walls.
Yeah, it's like, I don't condone anybody telling anybody to go kill themselves, and I don't want Shannon to harm herself, but I don't understand how she's gonna try to sit here on the moral high ground when she's proved nothing. Yeah, yes, Queen Slay. Get his ass. Tell him that he's stupid and doesn't know what he's talking about. Yes? Go off, girl. Yeah.
I feel like I would be more willing to accept Shannon's side of things if she entertained the possibility that she could have been wrong, or that there were, like, other scenarios and then maybe tried to counter those scenarios. Like,
yeah, it's like
sort of having that sort of thing. But she literally just always does this thing where she, like, it has to be this way. There's no other explanation for it. And then it's like, well, but what about these 10 other explanations? Not real. Not real. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Does anyone have the link to the video that was apparently of Brandon saying, like, corroborating her story or something?
I haven't watched Repsian in a minute, bro.
I'm trying to
watch
find it.
Repsian
I know people on Twitter were talking about it.
Back in the day.
Okay, someone made a Google Drive folder. Okay, it's called Emily Artful's Brandon is what it's called. I have it on my other monitor that I'm looking for it. Okay, so I guess this is it.
Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I guess we can check out what this is now.
Nah.
This motherfucker think he's in the Matrix?
Hello. I am the alias Brandon, also known as my real name, Bryce. I would like to
I already have
address
incredible
today
creeper vibes off of this. Is that anyone
accusation.
else? That is already... This is already creeping me out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. This is already giving me bad vibes.
And claims
Oh, the creaky chair is so good too.
by Emily Artful. I am here to give my input on what I know to be the truth of the events that took place that Emily Artful speaks of. I can only speak of the events where I was
I think this man might be Creepshow's lawyer. He's talking like how the lawyer talked.
present, and that is what I will be addressing today. The accusations of me threatening to
Did Scrittus
curb
die?
stomp her is not only untrue, but I believe it to be unbelievable, given that
Hello?
at the time I was a
can hear you.
90-pound untreated
There you go.
autistic man.
The funny thing is I couldn't hear you
got
in Discord, but then I like
gleed
unmuted and I could
over
hear you talking over like the
a video
video.
game
So
called
I think like
Halo.
Yeah, I don't.
rejoin.
I just like. It doesn't look like there's any sort of actual screenshot. I guess this is just this guy's testimony with a very creaky chair.
The
Are
green
those-
lighting tells me
are those
from a cinematography
butterflies?
standpoint
Are
that I
those
should be.
butterflies on his wall?
Listen, this video, like, I don't know why he has green lighting and a leather jacket and shit, but like, cinematography wise, this fucking tells me that I should be disgusted and uneasy.
This is 1080p.
With this person.
This is 1080p, apparently.
So if you're trying
Like,
to
the only
claim
thing that's telling
that
me I shouldn't be in danger is the fact that he's not
the
using
person
red lighting
with
instead.
violent outbursts and rage is this person.
Okay, so I guess this is an old video of him doing weird...
Receive the most epic pack.
Holy shit! Sorry.
He is a lanky boy. Jesus.
I have a hard time.
Oh, it's guys, so he showed some videos of himself being tiny. So he's unable to make physical threats of violence ever. Ever. I'm sorry it was loud. That's why I immediately stopped and turned it down.
Believing that would be any real threat. I don't generally talk openly about other people.
I don't even know who this person is. Are they saying, like, wait, what's the argument here?
So this is the person who was like Brandon, who I guess at some point Shannon blamed Brandon for like all of the stalking and stuff happening, and I guess Emily at some point. Yeah, and he's basically just saying that he never made a threat of violence against Emily, and like Emily's versions of events are false according to his own story. But he wasn't there. Like he's just some dude who knew both of them kind of. Why would he know for sure that Emily did or didn't get harassed by Shannon? I don't understand. You know what? Is there a transcript? There is. I'm just gonna read. Because I don't actually want to... Okay, so it says, I don't generally talk openly about other people's mental issues. But given this situation, I am telling you these events so you might have a better understanding of the person that you are choosing to believe in. Oh, so it's the whole Emily Artful has mental issues, therefore she's unreliable thing. Okay. They were extremely this is something that Emily has already addressed in her past. Yeah, so it's not even actually addressing any claims. It's just, oh, Emily Artful has had mental issues in the past, therefore don't trust her. A blatant cash grab. Result of Amber Heard cancel culture.
Isn't there a character in the movie Grandma's Boy who like had like the Matrix coat and everything and was like LARPing as a Matrix guy?
I don't know.
In like the video game developer company. Me those vibes. I'm sure he's a lovely person, but he just gives me those vibes.
She's saying that it's like fabricated but only in halves. For example, she makes the claim that I did not like Shannon at all during the time we were living together. That part is true. I was very frustrated for everyone as I was also homeless. So, because I guess that they said that they kind of lived with him because he was a friend of the husband while they were like homeless together, like in their cars. The fabricated part is trying to get Shannon fired. See, Emily fabricates things in half-truths, half of it being fact, half of it being made up. It's a clever way to hide the lies and also the truth. As for contact with Emily, I never really judged her any of her mental disability. You just did, like, 2 minutes ago. She had been going through the last I had interacted. I had the impression that we were all friends, so being blindsided by her years later randomly was disappointing. And also very unexpected. I have no idea why you decided to lie. I have no idea what you were thinking. I have no idea why. You have decided to go after so many people in your past that have done nothing. And the ones that stuck by your side the most are the ones you are attacking the deepest. But I'm sure you know best. I'm going to end the video now. And this is just him saying, oh yeah, Emily lied. Yeah, like, he doesn't disprove anything. There's no screenshots. Like, I scrubbed real quick. So, it's just his testimony. He's not saying anything.
So that exact same thing about Shannon.
Yeah, the half-truths
the
thing.
half-truths things.
And yet, how would he even know about, like, why would he know whether or not Shannon tried to get Emily fired? Like, why would he even know that? Why would he be able to say for sure that that didn't happen? He could say he doesn't believe it happened, but he wouldn't be able to say for sure unless he were literally the one involved.
Yeah. He would say that it's... I mean...
Yeah, also,
Yeah,
Brandon... the only reason
I
Brandon
kind of
was
agree.
relevant to the story is because Shannon kind of tried to blame him at one point, saying that he was the one who was stalking and harassing Emily. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Shannon and or Anthony were... Also, why would he post this video, like, the same day as Shannon's video? Unless that they were in contact in some capacity. Or talking to each other in some capacity, yeah. She's bailing this dude out to defend her after she threw him under the bus. That's... yeah. That's really shitty behavior on Shannon's part. Yeah, so I thought that video might have something of value. It doesn't. It just kind of proves that Shannon's wheeling out people to defend her in ways that don't even make sense.
Oh God, we've got the epilogue of the epilogue soon.
Well, I mean,
like, if it's your final statement, why do we have part 0?
This is just fucking like all of the past names that Emily ever went by, and then there's like the links to everything down here, I guess.
Alright, cool. Madame Minecraft. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Listen, I'm here for equality. I'm here to roast Emily for her cringe choice of Minecraft names. You're not safe either, Emily. You're not safe in this chat.
Yeah, Brandon probably got what happened in the drama explained to him rather than Shannon. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember Emily ever actually saying anything bad about Brandon other than the fact that him and Anthony made like some really weird comments about school shootings and that he was kind of creepy maybe because of the school shooting things. Yeah. Also, bye, Emily. Thank you for stopping by. You were here for, like, almost the whole fucking stream,
see how she leaves as soon as I'm about to throw down the gauntlet against her.
Oh, my goodness.
Nobody wants this heat. Nobody.
Yeah, that's what... we've said that a few times,
channels.
Yeah. We said that, like, even if all of this was true, it wouldn't clear Shannon at all. Because she didn't talk about the locale stuff. Yeah. Like, nothing. And we've already discussed
even if
why
we were
all
to
of
give
this
the most
nonsense isn't true.
Even if we were to give the most charitable interpretation and assume that everything Shannon is saying is the truth, it does not exonerate Shannon from anything that has been claimed about her. It really wouldn't. Like, even if Emily Artful was as terrible as she wants us to believe, or any of the narrators were as unreliable as they were, it still would not provide any good logical arguments against the claims made against her.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't debunk anything. And even then, we've already demonstrated several times that her arguments aren't even solid in this document.
Yeah.
They're not at all.
Yeah. Yeah, the reality is, even after that, like, none of these arguments are solid, and Emily is not, the worst person ever that they want us to believe.
Yeah, honestly, right? Mally, I wouldn't be shocked if Brandon was just being manipulated either by Shannon or Anthony or both of them. Like, I honestly probably think that's what happened, if anything. Yeah, brain rot. It's setting in. Dude, it was really bad for me yesterday. I feel like I got a nice sleep.
Dude, I literally had Corona on top of fucking...
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I had to warn the stream that Scrittus got tested positive for COVID, so y'all are gonna have to get yourselves tested now.
That day. I'm feeling better now. But yeah, well, listen, Spy reading out this document out loud to me is what gave it to me. So I'm blaming her. That's just facts. You can't debunk that, by the way. There's nothing you can say that.
Yeah, there's no
gets
other
rid of
possible
that.
scenario that could have happened other than
There's
what
no
Scrittus
other
says.
scenario. That's just the facts. And that's it. That's all there is.
Hey, Thuman's got Rona too. You have something in common with the Finnish person.
Hey, let's go. Rona buddies. Woo! Yeah, you're feeling better too? Oh man, we are very in sync, Thuman. We are incredibly in sync.
Oh man, but I think did we actually do it? Did we actually get through all of it? Did we actually do it? Is it over? Is it over?
It's been 18 years.
It's been 84 years, but we did it.
Fucking God.
Pop the champagne.
Holy shit.
Hey, you're waiting for your test results today, Mally? Yeah, everybody got the Rona.
Oh my lord.
Shannon came back and unleashed a new wave of Rona against everybody. She is the next variant.
She is the Rona.
She is the Rona.
Corona Omicron comes to Twitter to announce that it was Creepshow the entire time.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was fun though, guys, wasn't it? Anyone else have anything I missed?
Shannon's about to make a Twitter account and announce Corona 3.
Electric Boogaloo.
Corona Part 3. Oh my god.
The Creepshow variant.
The Creepshow variant. Yeah, the variant that lives in your walls.
Would Part 0 be considered doxing? I don't think so, because I think they're all technically public. It certainly is interesting that she fucking went and found, like, who knows of a person, like...
How do you know every single alias of this one person?
Yeah.
Over the last... Jeez.
If any of y'all ever y'all ever message me with my old ass iFunny or my old ass Tumblr account name, I will know 100% that you have doxed and or stalked me for years, because there is no
Here's
way.
my thing, right? I have a bunch of friends, right, that I've known throughout the years who are like constantly changing their names and aliases and everything. I would not be able to tell you every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be able to, like, maybe if I got enough thought, okay, let's give some credit. Maybe if I put in enough thought and did enough digging, but then it's like, unless there was, like, a way that I could, like, look them all up easily or something, but, like...
Yeah, it's, like, it's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Understand. This is just...
But yeah, guys, I think... we actually kind of maybe did it, so we're probably gonna wrap up here, and this will be going public. I'll be leaving the stream up, so you guys can always come back later if you need to clip it or you need to look for something or whatever. This will be staying up. I think we've pretty thoroughly discussed exactly why Shannon is not correct in the large capacity, in like 99% of this document. She's incorrect or stretching or has come to a conclusion that is incorrect. That sort of deal. So
yeah,
we made it. We're all still okay on the other side.
Yeah.
I expect mini memes sent to me. I look forward to them. Subscribe to my goddamn channel. The Discord
is in the description.
The Discord is in the description. Subscribe to my goddamn channel. Follow me on Twitter. All of that good jazz, alright? Thank you all so much for coming out. And I don't know when my next stream is going to be. It'll probably be an art stream, but we'll see. So, I'll see you guys later. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Bye, Scrittus.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Back to the cage for me.
Yeah, Scrittus is going back in the cage. Bye.